Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. Martial God. I can improve the quality of my abilities. Chapter 61. When the man saw the certificate of the superpower army in Su Shu's hand, he was stunned and his mind went blank. He could tell at a glance that the certificate of the superpower army was true, because there were special superpower fluctuations on it, which could be sensed with a little induction. But he never thought that a superpower army would run to the black market to do this. In the gap between the big eyes and the small eyes, the stall owner took a long time to react, and hurriedly returned the more than 30 silver crystal cores given by Su Shu to him. Commander, I didn't recognize the great man, and I shouldn't have deceived you. Su Shu glared. The living Black Iron Lord is worth 10 million. I gave you 100 silver crystal cores at that time. Why did you only return 30? After hearing this, the stall owner finally reacted and immediately understood that this guy was obviously blackmailing. But he couldn't take out another 70 silver crystal cores. Commander, I don't have 100 silver crystal cores on my body. The stall owner's voice was aggrieved. Su Shu pointed at the stall owner. Take as many as you can. Hurry up, or I will catch you and take you to the base of the supernatural army. The stall owner was dumbfounded after hearing this, and finally he could only take out all his belongings and put them on the stall. Su Shu took a look, a few bronze crystal cores, a pile of black iron crystal cores, which can be described as poor. But no matter how small a mosquito is, it is still meat. Su Shu collected all of them and walked away with the dog. Seeing this, the stall owner wanted to call Su Shu and ask for the dog back, but he didn't dare to call him in the end. Then, Su Shu began to harvest crazily in the black market, harvesting almost all the scammers. In the end, he got something equivalent to 50 silver crystal cores. About 5 million, when Su Shu turned around, he found that the entire black market was empty and all the scammers had run away. Su Shu finally had to go back. The next morning, Su Shu went to buy a locator and installed it on his father's backpack, then absorbed the supernatural beast crystal cores in the room and waited. As a result, after waiting for a whole day, his father did not intend to leave. It was not until later that Su Shu heard from the conversation between the two that today was Sunday and his father was on holiday and did not have to drive the excavator. It was already Monday, and Su Shu was late as usual. When he arrived at the school, the morning meeting was almost over. Su Shu originally wanted to join the team to fish in troubled waters, but as soon as he joined, he heard the principal Wang Wuchen shouting his name on the microphone. Student Su Shu, come up. Su Shu was speechless after hearing this, and could only bite the bullet and go up. He dared not use weakness to Wang Wuchen again, for fear of being beaten black and blue again. Seeing Su Shu walk up to the podium, all the students showed a gloating expression. Most people in the school did not like Su Shu. After all, no one wanted to pay for going to the toilet every day. After Su Shu stood still, Wang Wuchen frowned and asked with the microphone, "Why are you late again?" Suddenly, all the students were looking forward to it, expecting Wang Wuchen to scold Su Shu. Of course, Su Shu couldn't explain it, because he had traveled through time before. When he woke up, the time was just right. He had agreed to sleep for only 1 minute, but when he closed his eyes and opened them again, he traveled through time to an hour later. Wang Wuchen continued, "Are you too tired these days? You should pay attention to rest more. It doesn't matter if you don't come in the morning." As soon as these words came out, all the students below were dumbfounded. What happened? Did we travel through time? Or was the principal possessed by a strange beast? Otherwise, how could he say such nonsense? Su Shu was also a little dazed, and quickly said, "Then I'll go back and take a nap." Wang Wuchen quickly said softly, "Since you are here, go to school first. If you are tired next time, take a good rest." After hearing this, the students below couldn't stand it. "Principal, he is late." "Principal, you are biased. Why didn't you punish Su Shu for being late? You deducted his credits. You punish him." "I don't accept it. Why should I be criticized for being late, but Su Shu is fine for being late?" Even Li Yafei, who was standing in the crowd, frowned, feeling very unbalanced. Seeing the chaos below, Wang Wu raised the microphone and said softly, "Su Shu is now a formal superpower soldier." Just one sentence, everyone below shut up, silent and silent. Everyone's face was shocked and unbelievable. Superpower soldier. No one has ever heard of becoming a superpower soldier when attending a superpower high school. This is not recorded in history. The most unbelievable one among them is Li Yafei. Because she was once a teammate of Su Shu, she was shocked and extremely unbalanced. Because since she was transferred to the new team, she really felt the dangers of society. You know, her current teammates have not passed the preliminary selection assessment. Yes, there are 4 people in total, and she is the only one who is a real preliminary selection. Originally, it was very likely to pass the preliminary selection the day before yesterday, but the result was that 3 people fainted during the process and did not make any contribution, so all teammates failed the assessment again. In addition to disbelief, Li Yafei was extremely unbalanced. She couldn't understand why Su Shu, who was born in a lowly family and had the lowest level of supernatural quality, could be so successful. And she, who has double SS supernatural powers, encountered obstacles everywhere. She was not convinced and was extremely unwilling in her heart. At this time, Wang Wuchen spoke again. We congratulate Su Shu for becoming the first student in history to become a formal superpower soldier in high school. He is also the first in our Luo in superpower high school. We congratulate him. You should take him as an example in the future. After Wang Wuchen finished speaking, he found that there was silence below, and there was not even a single applause. Little did they know that all the students present had made a bet with Su Shu, betting that Su Shu would not be admitted to Longyuan Superpower University. As a result, Su Shu became a superpower soldier. Isn't it easy to be admitted to Longyuan Superpower University? Seeing that they were about to lose the bet, how could they still applaud Su Shu? Not even a little. Seeing that the scene was awkward, Wang Wuchen turned to look at Su Shu, wanting him to say a few words. As a result, he found that Su Shu was standing there with his hands behind his back, with a proud look on his face, like a master. Wang Wuchen was speechless, as if this guy couldn't be praised. Then he walked up and patted Su Shu. Student Su Shu, please say a few words. Su Shu turned his head and looked at Wang Wuchen, then slowly raised his hand to take the microphone, looking very reluctant. Since the principal must ask me, a superpower soldier, to say a few words, then I will say a few words reluctantly. Wang Wuchen. At this time, Wang Wuchen couldn't help but wonder whether it was right or wrong to hand the microphone to Su Shu. At this time, Su Shu had already spoken. Ahem, classmates, I advise everyone to open their eyes to see the world. Why didn't you become a superpower soldier? Is it because you didn't work hard enough? You can't break your defense and cry just because it's difficult to become a superpower soldier. The reason why I can achieve what I have today is that I have come step by step through my own efforts. Young people should rise up, embrace the stars and the moon, and chase the sun. As soon as these words came out, all the students below broke their guard. Su Shu, what do you mean? Are you saying we don't work hard enough? Who are you saying doesn't work hard? But what's the point of trying hard? Li Yafei has dual SS powers. She needs potential and hard work, but she can't do it. How can we do it? Li Yafei. The sound of defense breaking coming from below kept coming, leaving Wang Wuchen speechless. Su Shu, you just don't work hard enough. I can still become a superpower with my E-level superpower. All of you have higher superpower quality than me. Why can't you? If you don't work hard, how will you repay the crystal cores that you lost in the bet with me in the future? Who am I going to ask for? As soon as these words came out, everyone broke through their defenses again. It's really hard to pick up the pot. In fact, they have been worried about this matter in their hearts. The result was good. Su Shu mentioned it again, proving that he had not forgotten this matter at all. In the end, Wang Wuchen couldn't stand it anymore and quickly stepped forward and snatched the microphone from Su Shu's hand. If the other party is allowed to continue talking, there might be a fight. Finally, the morning meeting ended with all students breaking their defenses. As a result, just after the first class and going to the toilet, everyone broke their guard again. I saw a note written on the door of each toilet. To encourage all students, starting from today, the toilet fee will increase to 10 yuan a time. Please pay voluntarily. The signer is Su Shu, the Superpower Army. I don't know if it's intentional or not, but the word, Superpower Army, is written very large. In fact, there is no need to doubt it. All students know that this must be Su Shu's intention. But it's not enough if we don't hand it over. Who knows what that Su Shu will do? It would be bad if you were lucky and get drawn. In the blink of an eye, it was afternoon. Su Shu, who was sleeping on the table, suddenly heard a notification tone from his mobile phone. He quickly picked it up and took a look, and immediately found that the locator he installed on his father's backpack had moved. Su Shu quickly stood up and walked straight out of the school gate. He took a taxi and followed the direction of the locator's movement. Hey, as long as he catches the fact that his father is a big boss, he will be able to sleep peacefully. There is a big boss dad, who is still working hard. Thinking of this, Su Shu couldn't help but get excited. Following the direction of movement of the locator, I finally came to a place and stopped. Looking at the surrounding environment, Su Shu was dumbfounded. Construction site. I suddenly had a bad feeling in my heart. He can't really drive an excavator, right? Then my dream of being a second-generation boss is shattered. Just as he was about to enter the construction site, he was suddenly stopped by a man. The construction site is a very important area, so you are not allowed to enter. Forehead. Seeing this, Su Shu suddenly felt hopeful again. Could it be that this is a secret base? The appearance is hidden with the help of the construction site. Immediately, Su Shu directly took out the supernatural force to prove, I am the supernatural force. I feel that there is a problem at your construction site and I need to go in and check. The man was startled after seeing it, then turned around and took a helmet and handed it to Su Shu. You can only go in if you wear it. Su Shu was speechless, so he had to take it and put it on, then walked in. According to the positioning on the mobile phone, Su Shu quickly came to the edge of a large pit. Looking down, he immediately saw an excavator under construction. The father, Su Yixin, was sitting in the cab wearing a red safety helmet and operating. Seeing this scene, Su Shu was completely disappointed. It turned out that his father was really a very hard-working excavator driver. At this time, the phone rang. When I picked it up, it was actually his father Su Yixin calling. Su Shu quickly answered the call, and Su Yixin's calm voice suddenly came from the phone. If you don't go to school, why are you coming to the construction site? Don't you want to go to school? That's just right. Come down and I'll teach you how to drive an excavator in advance, so you can get familiar with it first. Su Shu was speechless. After all, I was an official member of the supernatural army. How could I possibly learn to drive an excavator? Then Su Shu sat in the excavator cab. Su Yixin next to him was teaching Su Shu how to operate. First lift the safety lock on the left. Su Shu quickly lifted the red safety lock under the left handle. Su Yixin then said, okay, let's get familiar with it. The two in front of you are walking. If you step forward at the same time, you will walk forward. If you step backward at the same time, you will walk backward. If you step only on the left, you will turn left. If you step only on the left, you will turn left. Turn right. The front and rear of the left handle controls the forearm, the left and right handles control the steering, the front and rear of the right handle controls the big arm, and the left and right handle controls the bucket. Okay, get familiar with it. After hearing this, Su Shu started to operate it. Not to mention, it was quite fun. After a period of operation, Su Shu became familiar with it and had a great time playing it. After digging for about half an hour, Su Shu was completely familiar with it and was able to construct skillfully. While he was enjoying this, his cell phone rang. He picked it up and saw that it was the principal Wang Wuchen calling. Su Shu answered the call directly. Wang Wuchen, where are you? Why didn't I see you in school? Su Shu, oh, principal, I'm driving the excavator. Wang Wuchen, drive an excavator. What kind of excavator? Su Shu, it's just an excavator that digs mud. Wang Wuchen, I'm digging your sister. You are an official member of the supernatural army, and you actually drive an excavator. Su Shu, what's wrong with driving an excavator? Is there a rule that says the superpowers can't drive an excavator? Wang Wuchen, it's okay, right? Anyway, Wang Wuchen just felt something was wrong, but he couldn't pinpoint what was wrong. Su Shu, that's okay, I didn't break the rules, right? I thought if I don't become a superpower in the future, at least I can make a living by driving an excavator. Wang Wuchen, your focus should be on studying now. Don't fall behind in cultural classes. Su Shu, Principal, I don't think there is any need to learn cultural classes. Wang Wuchen. Fart, your future is likely to be to go abroad to participate in a superpower competition, and then all kinds of knowledge will be used. Su Shu. Can't superpowers compete with each other? Wang Wuchen. That's our Chinese rule. Other countries don't have rules. And it's not just a competition between superpowers, there's also a competition for hunting strange beasts. Su Shu was speechless. I'll just hire a translator then. Wang Wuchen. At this time, Wang Wuchen only felt that he could not communicate with Su Shu. He simply hung up the phone and stared at the ceiling for a long time without saying anything. At this time, Su Shu suddenly called Kun Shang. Kun Shang, come and drive the excavator, it's so fun. The village student on the other end of the phone was silent for a long time, and then said, Brother Shu, I am a superpower after all. How can I drive an excavator with you? Are you kidding me? Su Shu, then are you coming? Just one sentence. Village student, send me your location. Only half an hour later, the village student came over. Seeing the huge excavator operated by Su Shu, the village student's eyes gleamed and he climbed up without hesitation. Since you like it so much, then you can drive it today, and I will have a good time. Su Yixin said without emotion, then got off the excavator and went back. Uncle, let's go slowly. Kun Sheng said politely, then pulled Su Shu out of the driver's seat and sat on it himself. Brother Shu, please teach me how to drive. Ma Sheng's voice was filled with impatience. Su Shu explained the general operation process, and then the village student started driving happily. In the blink of an eye, half an hour later, Marao's phone rang. I saw it was Wang Yushan calling. Where have you gone? Your people are looking for you. Wang Yuxian's voice came from the mobile phone. Village student, tell them for me that I am driving an excavator and will not go to court today. Wang Yushan was silent for a long time. After he calmed down, he said in confusion, driving the excavator. Where is it? Are you with Su Shu? Send me your location. Half an hour later, Wang Yushan got into the driving seat of the excavator. The village students began to provide guidance. After becoming proficient, Wang Yushan couldn't help but say, you have such a fun thing, why didn't you call me earlier? It's really not fun. Village student, who knew you, a girl, would actually like to drive this thing? Su Shu, that's right. Wang Yushan, I don't care, if anything happens in the future, you must call me. Murata, do I have to call you when my girlfriend and I go to a hotel? Wang Yushan was stunned for a moment, and then uttered one word, get out. But at this moment, Su Shu walked over and pulled Wang Yushan up, it's my turn. But Wang Yushan refused to give in, wait for me to wait for a while. Then, the three began to fight and had a scuffle in the cab. This scene also attracted the attention of the project leader, who quickly came over and knocked on the glass of the cab. What do you guys do? No fighting is allowed on the construction site. Whose children are you? At this time, the door of the cab was suddenly opened, and Su Shu directly took out the certificate of the superpower army and slapped it in the other person's face. Do you see clearly? The superpower army operates in secret. I don't need to report to you, right? The person in charge of the construction site nodded quickly after hearing this. Excuse me, keep fighting. After saying that, he ran away in a flash. Nonsense, superpower army. He is just an ordinary person, he can't afford to offend him, okay. The three of them played until night. They couldn't see clearly anymore, so they walked out of the construction site. I asked you to drive the excavator, now it's your turn to treat me to dinner. Su Shu said as he walked away. Village student, we too asked Wang Yushan to drive, it should be her turn. Wang Yuxian's eyes widened, what the hell? I obviously learned how to drive it myself, so why did you invite me? No, Su Shu, then I'll go home to eat. You go back. I wanted to ask you to go do something important together in the evening, but it looks like I have to go alone. After hearing this, Kun Sheng's eyes suddenly lit up, and he quickly walked to Su Shu and hooked his shoulders. Brother Shu, what's our relationship? Wang Yushan, invited me to this meal. Wang Yushan, who was next to him, rolled his eyes and said, you can just ask me, why are you saying my name? The village student turned around and glared at Wang Yushan. You talk nonsense, who calls you the richest? Wang Yushan shook his head. No, we two are awe. If you don't give it to me, I'll ask Wang Dagong for it. When the village student heard this, he quickly shouted, okay, stop talking, I'll treat you, I'll treat you. Su Shu immediately smelled the gossip, quickly opened the village student's hand, ran to Wang Yushan and asked, Yushan, who is Wang Dagong in your mouth? Why are the village students so afraid? Wang Yushan rolled his eyes and was about to speak, but his mouth was covered by the village student. Then the village student hurriedly said, it's just a child, it's a child. Woo woo woo, Wang Yushan wanted to speak, but his mouth was covered and he could only make a whining sound. Meow, if you promise not to tell me, I will let you go. Wang Yushan nodded and made a woo 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 sound. Only then did the village student let go. As a result, Wang Yushan directly summoned the pear blossom gun and pointed it at the village student. If you dare to cover my mouth, I will never finish with you. Seeing this, the village students ran away quickly. In the end, Wang Yushan had no intention of chasing her, so she turned to Su Shu and said, Wang Dagong is his girlfriend. She is the beauty of their village. After saying that, he chased after the village student directly. Su Shu, on the other hand, was stunned on the spot, unable to recover for a long time. Wang Dagong. At this time, a picture appeared in Su Shu's mind. In the picture, a village student held the hand of a beautiful little girl and said softly, Sister Dagong. Oh, Su Shu couldn't help but shudder. Some chilling feeling. After fighting for a while, the three of them found a restaurant to have dinner. Throughout the whole process, the village students kept their heads down and looked listless. He felt very unbalanced. He was beaten by Wang Yushan again, and his secret was revealed by Wang Yushan. It was really not worth it. As soon as they finished eating, the village student quickly took Su Shu's hand. Brother Shu, tell me what the big deal is. If it's not exciting enough, I will suffer a big loss. Su Shu turned his head and glanced at the hotel, then said, let's go out and talk. After the three of them came outside and walked into the darkness, Su Shu spoke, find something to hide your face and appearance. After hearing this, the village student's eyes suddenly lit up. Hearing this, he knew that he must be doing something big, so he hurried to look for it. However, he couldn't find it after searching for a long time. In the end, he had no choice but to turn his head and look at Wang Yushan. Wang Yushan didn't waste any words and threw him a pair of black stockings. This is the only one. You can use it if you like. Don't worry, I won't tell Wang Dagong that you used my stockings to cover your head. The village student, after being speechless, he finally had to use it. Wang Yushan also threw one to Su Shu, and then took one to put on. After Su Shu put it on, he said, the village student was cheated when he bought the crystal core before. This time we will go to the black market, we will do this. After talking about the general plan, the three set off. In comparison, the village student was full of excitement, because he had been cheated before, so he hated the group of scammers. After arriving at the black market, the three found that the black market today was particularly deserted, with only a few stalls. No one was hawking, and the whole street seemed quiet. The three looked at each other, then walked to a stall and talked to the stall owner. As a result, when the three were about to succeed, the three stall owners shouted, Leader, that fool's is here again. Then, two people suddenly came out of the adult product store. The leader was a masked man in black, and his exposed eyes stared at Su Shu and the other two. Su Shu was not afraid at all and stared at the other party with wide eyes. The two sides simply looked at each other for a minute. It could be said that it was a stalemate for a full 60 seconds. Kun Sheng and Wang Yushan also sensed something was wrong, and quickly came behind Su Shu, looking at each other without fear. Haha, I didn't expect that the person who tricked the black market was actually a black iron superpower. The visitor looked at the three people and said with a smile. Su Shu glanced at the adult product store, then looked at the two men in black walking over, and couldn't help but frown. Are all the liars outside your people? The leading man in black nodded. Yes, without our permission, who would dare to come here to set up a stall? Besides, without them, how can we show our integrity and authority? Su Shu nodded. Okay. It turns out it's a nest of snakes and rats. The leading man in black raised his eyelids. You don't need to worry about this. You came just in time to return all the crystal cores you cheated yesterday, otherwise don't blame us for being rude. Su Shu was surprised. Since you know it was me yesterday, you should also know that I am a superpower, right? What if I don't return it? The man in black laughed after hearing this. Ha ha ha, you must also know that our black market is officially sanctioned. In fact, to put it bluntly, it is official control. You have a background in the supernatural army, don't we? Su Shu, does that mean you are using official backgrounds to engage in deceit and abduction here? The man in black didn't bother to speak. What can you do if you know? I'm not afraid to tell you that since we dare to do this, the background behind it is astounding. Let me ask you again, why don't you pay back what you deceived yesterday? Su Shu shook his head directly. It is still impossible to return the things in my hands. The man in black didn't talk nonsense after hearing this. He directly raised his hand and waved. Don't talk nonsense to him, go ahead and arrest him. Let's see if he will be as tough talking as he is now. After saying that, terrifying silver-level power fluctuations erupted from the two of them at the same time, and the two of them moved instantly, heading straight towards Su Shu and the others. Seeing this, Su Shu threw a weak one to the leader without saying a word. Ah! The leader suddenly groaned and then appeared in Su Shu's arms. After directly leaving the opponent behind, Su Shu was left weak by another person. Ah! After the other party groaned, he appeared in Su Shu's arms again. Strip them both naked for me, and take away whatever is valuable. Su Shu quickly turned to Kun Sheng and Wang Yushan and said. What do you want to do? No. Looking at the three people with their eyes shining, they lay on the ground with their hands folded and shouted. They wanted to resist, but found that not only could they not use their powers, but their bodies were also too weak to resist at all. In the end, they could only watch as Su Shu and the others took off their clothes. Soon, the two of them were lying on the ground with only a pair of pants left, looking at the sky helplessly. Kakaka, Su Shu and Kun Sheng, on the other hand, took pictures of the two of them with their mobile phones. Wang Yushan was counting the loot. By the time the two of them were about to take pictures, Wang Yushan had already finished clicking. He raised his head and said to the two of them, there are 2 silver elite crystal cores, 10 bronze crystal cores, and 10,000 yuan. After hearing this, Su Shu and Kun Sheng couldn't help but look at the two people on the ground with disdain, and said in unison, poor. Then, Su Shu turned to look at the store with adult products, and asked softly, do you dare to do something big? Kun Sheng walked directly to Su Shu, why don't you dare? Wang Yushan didn't say anything, but walked up to the two of them, and his attitude was already clear. It's done, Su Shu said and ran over first. Kun Sheng and Wang Yushan quickly followed behind. 3 figures wearing hoods and stockings rushed straight into the adult products store. The lights inside the store were very bright. As soon as the 3 of them entered, all the clerks were attracted by the 3's outfits and subconsciously cast their gazes. Su Shu did not hesitate to show weakness to his team members. Wang Yushan had already summoned the pear blossom gun and smashed it directly towards the counter. Bang! The loud noise woke up the stunned clerk. Ah! Robbery! A scream alerted other store employees. Suddenly, everyone fled. The village student took out the sack, followed Wang Yushan, and picked up the things that fell on the ground into the sack. Su Shu was speechless and shouted quickly, Musheng, why are you picking up those adult products? They are all under the counter in the middle, go directly over there. Ah, oh, Kun Sheng and Wang Yushan finally reacted and hurriedly walked towards the counter in the middle. Bang! The pear gun fell, and the counter in the middle shattered, and the dense crystal cores scattered out. The village boy's eyes flashed and he hurried to pick it up. Su Shu, on the other hand, kept using his powers on the clerk, trying to control them all. How dare you rob a black market store? You are finished. At this time, the 2 people outside who had been stripped down to their pants ran in. After seeing the scene inside, they suddenly burst into tears and yelled. What greeted them was 2 weak men, who lay on the ground again. After controlling everyone, Su Shu ran over to install the crystal core with village student Wang Yushan. In the blink of an eye, the 3 of them packed 3 sacks. After a final check to make sure that there was not even a single crystal core left, they ran outside with the sacks on their shoulders. Before leaving, Su Shu looked back at the store, then said loudly, remember, I am the sergeant of the superpower army, Zhao Shilin, if you have the guts, come find me. After hearing this, the village student also turned around and said, I am the sergeant of the superpower army, Ma Liangshu, if you have the guts, come find me to settle accounts. Wang Yushan rolled her eyes at the two of them. Stop talking nonsense, let's go. Then the three of them carried the sack out of the store, went straight out of the black market, and disappeared into the night. After they left, someone in the store finally recovered and quickly took out his mobile phone to call the boss. Afterwards, the whole Luoan city was in turmoil. A large number of superpowers were dispatched, and superpowers flew over the whole Luoan city from time to time. Zhao Shilin was awakened by the ringing of his mobile phone in his sleep, and he clicked the connection in a daze. Zhao Shilin, what are you doing? A loud roar came from the mobile phone. Zhao Shilin's sleepiness was immediately disturbed. Zhao Shilin took the phone and saw the note was, Commander Chao Longsheng. Suddenly, Zhao Shilin woke up and asked quickly, Commander, what happened? Chao Longsheng, what happened? You still have the nerve to ask me. I want to ask you, what did you do tonight? My phone is almost blown up, do you know? Zhao Shilin felt his head was a mess after hearing this, and he quickly said, Commander, I have been sleeping at home. What happened? Chao Longsheng. The black market store was robbed. The other party said he was Zhao Shilin before leaving. Zhao Shilin was stunned after hearing this, and sat on the bed for a long time without recovering. Chao Longsheng's words were still echoing in Zhao Shilin's mind. The black market store was robbed, 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 robbed. This can be said to be the first time this has happened since the black market opened. Because everyone knows that the black market is said to be officially acquiesced, but in fact it was opened by the official on purpose. And Zhao Shilin also knows that the one who controls the black market is the diamond-level superpower, Lin Fengkai, a lieutenant colonel in the superpower army. It is also because of this background that no one dares to move the black market. But now Zhao Shilin suddenly heard that the black market was robbed, and the other party said it was him. Zhao Shilin, how could he believe it? Suddenly, Zhao Shilin flashed with inspiration, and Su Shu's figure unconsciously appeared in his mind. Then, everything was clear, and only that young man came on the dark clouds and did something earth-shattering. Zhao Shilin, speak up. What are you thinking about? Chao Longsheng's voice on the other end of the phone pulled Zhao Shilin back to his senses again, and he quickly said, Sir, I promise, it's not me. Chao Longsheng, I know it's not you, and you don't have the guts. Zhao Shilin was speechless. Sir, do you mean to look down on me a little bit? Chao Longsheng, I just look down on you, what's the matter? I just want to ask, do you have any suspects about the people who robbed the black market store? Zhao Shilin shook his head directly. I don't know, sir, I don't know either, but it may be someone who has a grudge against me, such as Ma Liangshu. Chao Longsheng, impossible, one of the robbers also said that he was Ma Liangshu, so he also ruled out the possibility. But I want to remind you, although I believe you or not, others may not believe it. Even if they know it's you, they may use it to make a fuss. You should pay attention next. After speaking, the other party hung up the phone directly, leaving Zhao Shilin sitting on the bed in a daze, unable to recover for a long time. He would never have thought that Su Shu and his friends would be so bold as to rob a black market store. What sin did I, Zhao Shilin, commit in my previous life to become their instructor? But now is not the time to complain. Zhao Shilin quickly took the phone and prepared to call Su Shu. As a result, the phone rang again at this time. It turned out to be Lieutenant Colonel Lin Fengkai calling. Looking at the name displayed on the screen, Zhao Shilin's heart couldn't help but skip a beat. He couldn't refuse to answer the call, so Zhao Shilin could only bite the bullet and click to connect. Zhao Shilin, right, Lin Fengkai's steady voice came from the other end of the phone. Zhao Shilin, sir, it's me. Lin Fengkai. You are so brave. You dare to rob a black market store. Don't you know that I am in control? Zhao Shilin, sir, it's not me. Lin Fengkai. I don't care if it's you or not, since you are the most suspicious, then you should find the real murderer. If you can't find it, it must be you. Sir, Zhao Shilin wanted to say something, but the other party had hung up. Zhao Shilin was sitting on the bed, dumbfounded, and then he quickly took out his mobile phone and called Su Shu. Soon, the call was connected, and Su Shu's voice came from the other end. "Good evening, Chief Zhao." Zhao Shilin forced himself to calm down, and then slowly said, "Where are you now?" Su Shu. Luoan City. "Where else?" Zhao Shilin. "I asked you which district. Or at home." Su Shu. "Of course I'm at home." Zhao Shilin. "Wait a minute, I'll come to you right away." Su Shu. "Okay, come over." After hanging up the phone, Zhao Shilin casually put on a coat and hurried to Su Shu's house. But when he came to the window of Su Shu's room and looked inside, there was no figure of Su Shu, and he immediately knew that he had been cheated. He took out his mobile phone and called Su Shu, but found that it was turned off. Su Shu. At this time, Su Shu and the other two had already got out of the car and quickly went to the black market in Anhe District. Anhe District is where the village students and Wang Yuxian's school were located. Similarly, there is also a black market here. There is more than one black market. There is one in every city and district, and even in some counties and towns, but the size and scale are different. After the three of them finished the 0 yuan purchase there, they knew that they had to be cautious in the black market next. It would be difficult to get anything at that time, so they immediately decided to come to Anhe District to do another job. As the old saying goes, the first time is new, the second time is familiar. With the experience of the last purchase, the three of them got started very quickly this time, and they cooperated very well. No one spoke when they went there, and they started directly. Su Shu was responsible for controlling the people inside, and Wang Yushan and Kunsheng were responsible for loading. Soon 3 sacks were filled again, and then disappeared into the night. As the news came out, Lin Fengkai, a lieutenant colonel of the Special Power Army, was furious, and the entire Special Power Army went crazy and moved quickly. And Zhao Shilin, who received the call again, was also crazy. After not finding anyone at Su Shu's house, he had a bad premonition in his heart, and as a result, he immediately heard the news that the night market store in Anhe District was robbed. Needless to say, it must have been that guy who did it. In the end, Zhao Shilin had no choice but to call Wang Wuchen. "Old Wang, where is your student Su Shu?" At this time, Wang Wuchen was confused and asked subconsciously, "He should be at home now." "What? Why are you looking for him?" Zhao Shilin. "You have the nerve to ask me why I'm looking for him. Do you know the news about the black market shops being robbed? In addition to the ones in the center of Luoan, the ones in Anhe District were also robbed." Wang Wuchen was shocked. "What? Don't make fun of me." Zhao Shilin. "Are you kidding? Do you think I am someone who likes to joke?" Wang Wuchen, you have trained a good student. Wang Wuchen. Zhao Shilin, what do you mean? Su Shu is also your qualifier. Even if they are all supernatural forces now, they were brought out by you. Are you not wrong? Zhao Shilin. You didn't force it on me. If something happens now, who else will I look for if not you? Wang Wuchen. Say it again. If you say it again, I won't care. Zhao Shilin. Then you are in charge now. Wang Wuchen. Where are you? Zhao Shilin. I'm here at Su Shu's house, come here quickly. As soon as the call was hung up, Wang Wuchen appeared in front of Zhao Shilin, frowned and asked, "What's going on?" Zhao Shilin. I want to know too. Now there are news from all sides that the black market store was robbed. And they all say that I was the one who robbed it. I don't even know the specific situation. Wang Wuchen. Since it was you who robbed it, then you should surrender. Zhao Shilin. Surrender yourself to your sister. It was Su Shu and the others who did it. Now their phones are all turned off. I don't know what they are going to do next. You are a superpower of the space system. Take me with you quickly. Go find them. Wang Wuchen nodded. Okay. Let's go. After saying that, the two disappeared from the spot. The surrounding scene changed, and Wang Wuchen and Zhao Shilin arrived at the black market in Anhe District. At this time, the place was already filled with supernatural troops and were patrolling. Wang Wuchen was also speechless. People don't know where they have gone, so what's the point of patrolling here? Zhao Shilin. Just for show, give Lieutenant Colonel Lin an explanation. Wang Wuchen stared at the black market and asked softly, "Where do you think they will go?" Zhao Shilin said matter-of-factly, "Of course we should find a place to share the spoils and then go home each other." Wang Wuchen shook his head directly. "It seems that you don't know Su Shu well enough. If you take the time to understand it carefully, you will find that you have wasted some time. Zhao Xilan, Wang Wuchen, you're kidding, that kid will never give up. Based on my understanding of him, he will definitely take this opportunity to open another black market store. Zhao Xilan was shocked. Then let's stop them quickly. Wang Wuchen shook his head after hearing this. No need, I hope they grab more. Zhao Xilan turned to look at Wang Wuchen in shock. Old Wang, you. Wang Wuchen smiled. My students, I don't want them to be good. Who do I want to be good for? Who will I favor if I don't favor them? Also, as their commander, you should protect some things that you should protect. Don't always treat them as enemies every day. Zhao Xilan felt aggrieved after hearing this, but what they do always harms me. This time the lieutenant colonel has already spoken. If I can't find the murderer, I will be regarded as the murderer. Wang Wuchen smiled. What do you have to be afraid of? In the worst case, just confess them. With the background of Su Shu and Kun Shang, there is nothing they can do. With one word to wake up the dreamer, Zhao Xilan's eyes lit up after hearing this, and then he nodded wildly. Okay, Lao Wang, you reminded me. That's it. While the two were communicating, Su Shu and the others robbed another black market. The three of them carried the sacks to the car, threw them behind, then got in the car and headed to the Horn Gate. During the previous robbery, the three of them had agreed that they would never be able to return to school or home. So I decided to directly enter the gate of alien beasts with a large number of crystal nuclei, practice inside and consume them all before coming out. Even if I was caught by then, the worst I could do would be to use a sewing machine for a few years, but no one would die anyway. But the village students just slapped their chests and assured themselves that even if they were caught, they would not be able to step on the sewing machine. Therefore, the three of them unanimously decided to go to the Gate of Horns so that they could get Wang Yushan bronze-level abilities. The car pulled 9 sacks and soon arrived at the superpower base outside the Horn Gate. The three of them asked the driver to drive into the superpower base. Then the 3 men carried the 9 sacks in and asked the staff to count them. Seeing that the 3 people took out so many alien beast crystal cores at once, the staff were skeptical at first, but after the 3 people produced proof of the supernatural force, they did not dare to say anything. After all, they are just ordinary staff, and they have no right to interfere with the affairs of the supernatural army. Soon, everything was tallied up. Gold ordinary beast crystal core, 1 worth 1 million. Silver ordinary beast crystal core, 110 million. Silver elite alien beast crystal core, 10 million. Bronze ordinary crystal core, 2020 million. Bronze elite core, 550 million. Bronze lord core, 10 million. Black iron ordinary crystal core, 5,005 million. Elite, 1,010 million. Lord, 110 million. Overlord, 5 million. Black iron beast king crystal core, 110 million. The biggest surprise among them must be the crystal core of the Black Iron Beast King. That's something you can't even buy. This one must have been reserved by someone else, but it was probably snatched away by 3 people before they even had a chance to take it. The total value is 141 million, plus some other bits and pieces, such as what was snatched from the man in black at the beginning. The total is about 142 million. A total of 142,000 military merits were exchanged, and each person received 47,333 military merits. Then the 3 of them began to exchange what they needed. Su Shu originally wanted to exchange 801 silver crystal cores to upgrade the weak ones, but found that they were not enough. A total of 80,100 military merits were needed, and he was still short of almost half. Then Su Shu turned to look at Kun Shang and Wang Yushan. This time you enter the gate of alien beasts, do you want to do something big? After hearing this, the 2 people's eyes lit up and they nodded repeatedly. Su Shu, okay, you guys can lend main, 32767 military merits together. Then I will catch a king beast for you and use it for you to extract bronze abilities. After hearing this, the 2 of them had no reason not to do it. They nodded quickly and then transferred the military merit to Su Shu. King beast. It may be possible to extract SS abilities, which are not available in the entire market. There are only 1 or 2 for sale in the military merit system, but the price is so high that the 3 of them can't even buy one with all their money combined. But Su Shu told them that if they had the opportunity to capture a king beast and extract its superpowers for them, how could they not be tempted? Su Shu then exchanged 801 silver crystal cores. Wang Yushan and Kun Sheng each exchanged a king-level alien beast crystal core, and replaced all the others with high-level bronze alien beast crystal cores, preparing to use them when they reach the bronze level. After doing it, the three of them entered the Horn Gate without stopping. Not long after they left, countless lights flashed across the sky, and dense supernatural troops came in droves. However, they were destined to be a step late, and could only look at the Horn Gate without doing anything. There was nothing they could do about it. When they received the news from the supernatural base here, they knew that Su Shu and the other two had come here. After they rushed over non-stop, the other party had already entered the Horn Gate. As for going into capture, it was too much to think about it. Each of the supernatural beast gates was ridiculously large. It was like looking for a needle in a haystack to find the three people inside. Wang Wuchen and Zhao Shilin also rushed over. The two flew in the air and also looked at the Horn Gate. Ha ha ha, I said you don't know Su Shu well enough. If we can think of his next plan, he is not Su Shu. Wang Wuchen couldn't help laughing. Zhao Shilin, but next, we too will have a hard time. Wang Wuchen had no fear on his face. Humph. What else can they do to us? It's not us. Besides, the problem of the black market has existed for a long time. No one dared to rectify it before. This time, with the support of the two emperors, the people in power who are interested will definitely not miss such a good opportunity. Zhao Shilin nodded. Okay, I'll bear it. Although China has extremely strict regulations on superpowers, it always puts superpowers first. But over time, some people in power will always accumulate some problems for the sake of profit, and the black market is one of them. Kun Sheng is not the only one who was deceived. There are too many people with the same situation as him. Kun Sheng is okay. It's nothing to be deceived once, but some people have poor family conditions. They work hard for several generations and are ready to use the money to buy crystal cores to improve themselves. As a result, they were deceived in the next turn, and all their efforts were in vain. It is a huge blow to the family. So this problem has always been a headache for some people in power. As the two were talking, Zhao Shilin's cell phone rang. When he picked it up, it was Lieutenant Colonel Lin Fengkai calling. Zhao Shilin couldn't help but look up at Wang Wuchen and ask for his opinion. Wang Wuchen, why are you looking at me? Answer it. Just tell the truth. Zhao Shilin could only nod and press the connect button. Zhao Shilin, right, have you checked it out? Lin Fengkai's calm voice came from the other end of the phone. Zhao Shilin, report to the commander, it has been checked out. It was done by 3 people, Su Shu, Kun Sheng, and Wang Yushan, all of whom are superpowers. At the same time, the 3 are high school students. Su Shu is Luo An's superpower, and the other 2 are in his superpowers. They are genius superpowers. The other end of the phone was silent after hearing this, and after a while he said, okay, I know. Then the other party hung up. The 2 looked at each other, and Wang Wuchen comforted, it should be fine. Zhao Shilin nodded in agreement. Then Wang Wuchen turned his head and looked at the Horn Gate. This Horn Gate is not simple, I hope they can handle it. Zhao Shilin nodded. Since they chose this monster gate, they must have read the relevant information, there should be no problem. Then the 2 went back directly, and they also felt that there should be no big problem with this matter. As a result, the 2 were arrested by the superpower army the next day, and all the teachers of Luo Anyi High School were also arrested. A strong light shone on Wang Wuchen's face. An officer of the superpower army sat opposite him. Name. Wang Wuchen thought about it for a while, so he had to answer reluctantly, Wang Wuchen. Gender. Wang Wuchen was extremely angry, but he was forced to hold it back, male. Duties. Wang Wuchen. Principal Luo Anyi High School. Superpower. Bang. Wang Wuchen slammed the table and stood up. Are you done yet? Don't you know what's going on with me? You keep asking, aren't you annoying? Bang. The other party also slammed the table and stood up. Wang Wuchen, you'd better be honest. According to the information, you have space-related superpowers and SS superpowers. Can teleport. If you stop your students and your daughter as soon as you know the situation, you will definitely be able to stop it. Quote. But you didn't stop it at the first time, so the higher-ups suspect that you are deliberately biased, and perhaps even help. So I advise you to cooperate with our investigation honestly. If you have no problem, we won't do anything to you. After hearing this, Wang Wuchen suppressed his anger and sat back on the stool. Okay, check it, whatever you want. As a result, after another day of tossing and turning, there was still no result, and there was no sign of releasing them. On the way, they were afraid that Wang Wuchen would escape, and even locked him in the forbidden cage. Wang Wuchen grabbed the iron bars of the forbidden cage with both hands, and his heart was full of mixed feelings. However, just at midnight, all the supernatural forces suddenly received a notice issued by the two emperors. Sword Emperor, the problem of the black market has existed for a long time. It's time to rectify it. Pass on this emperor's order to exempt Lin Fengkai from all real power, and let Duan Weimin temporarily take charge of all the affairs of the black market. Royal Emperor, who the hell dares to order the arrest of my son? Lin Fengkai, come to see me and see if your skin is hard or my black tortoise claws are sharp. The two sword emperors and royal emperors, who usually don't talk much and don't take care of things, suddenly spoke up, which directly shocked the entire supernatural army. It's no wonder that the black market will usher in a major reshuffle. The next morning, Luoan Supernatural High School suddenly posted a notice that shocked all students. Su Shu, a student in Class 6 of Senior 3, entangled with two students from other schools the night before and robbed the Luoan City Center Black Market, Anhui District Black Market, and Pingsha District Black Market, which seriously affected the school's reputation and had extremely serious consequences. Hereby a warning is issued and 1 credit is deducted. After seeing this notice, all students felt their brains buzzing. What the hell is robbing the black market? And rob 3 at a time. And what's the point of deducting 1 credit? You can just give him the first-class merit. Why bother to deduct 1 credit to perfunctorily deal with us? Robbing the black market only deducts 1 credit, so using a nuclear bomb to blow up a school only deducts 0.5 credits. Because compared to robbing the black market, using a nuclear bomb to blow up the school seems to be a lighter crime. At this time, Li Yafei stood in front of the bulletin board, looking at the notice on it, with a complicated look on his face. Robbing the black market, is this something that people can do? If I hadn't said that at the beginning, I should have become one of them. What a desirable thing that is. Thinking about it, Li Yafei quickly shook his head. What on earth was he thinking? Even if the school's punishment for Su Shu was very light, would the people behind the black market let them go? Their days would not be easy next time, would they? Thinking of this, Li Yafei felt more comforted. Just wait to be caught and go to jail. The gate of the horn, the mountains stand tall, surrounded by mountains and water. Su Shu and the other two had been here for more than a day, their hair was messy and their faces were dark. Brother Shu, where is the king-level beast? We seem to have forgotten to bring food in. If this goes on, we will starve to death, the village student said weakly while lying on a big rock. Su Shu was speechless. How dare you say that? I thought you bought it, so I didn't buy it. Village student. I also thought you bought it, so I didn't buy it. Then the two turned their heads to look at Wang Yushan at the same time. Wang Yushan raised her eyelids. Why are you looking at me? I also thought you bought it. Then the 3 of them were speechless at the same time. Su Shu then looked at the 2 of them and asked, have you seen the information about the Horn Gate? Why haven't we seen any strange beasts? Murakuo, why are you looking at me? I thought you were looking at me. Wang Yushan, I thought you saw it too. Su Shu nodded. Okay, together we will starve to death this time. Wang Yushan suddenly thought of something and said, I only know that the strange beast in the Gate of Horns is called the Phantom Antelope. The most important thing about these strange beasts is their horns. Common phantom antelopes can release illusions through their horns, and rare phantom antelopes can release a high attack superpower through their horns. I also think this ability is more suitable for me, so I decided to come here. But because I came in a hurry, I didn't read the specific information. After hearing this, the village student's eyes suddenly lit up. The phantom antelope, it looks delicious as soon as I hear it. Wang Yushan rolled his eyes. Eat, you know how to eat. Murakuo, hey, if we don't eat any more, we will starve to death. The future generation of legendary superpowers will starve to death in the gate of alien beasts. This will be a huge loss to the future of superpowers. Wang Yushan. Who told you not to bring food? Murakuo. You are so embarrassed to accuse me, did you bring it with you? Su Shu didn't listen to them at this time, but was thoughtful. As the two of them were talking, they suddenly turned to look at Su Shu at the same time. Kun Sheng couldn't help but ask, Brother Shu, did you discover something? Su Shu. Generally, it is impossible to find a strange beast at the gate of strange beasts for a whole day. Since Wang Yushan said that the phantom antelope can release illusions through its horns, is it possible that we are actually in an illusion? Hiss. As soon as these words came out, Wang Yushan and Kun Sheng took a breath of air conditioning at the same time. Yes, they have never been aware of a problem, and they have not realized the seriousness of the problem. If this problem had not been discovered, the three of them had been wandering around in the illusion, and eventually starved to death without being able to find the strange beasts, and they could not find a way out. Brother Shu, what should we do? Find a way quickly, Murakuo said hurriedly. Su Shu thought for a while and then slowly spoke. Just wait a moment, Su Shu said, directly taking out all the silver alien beast crystal cores that he had exchanged at the supernatural army base, and then absorbed them. Later, Su Shu's powerless power was upgraded to B level. Weak and powerless. Quality, B. Causes 240 seconds of weakness to the target. During the process, the target is completely weak, unable to attack, and unable to use powers. Can sense the fluctuations of superpowers, and follow the superpowers to use them weakly on the opponent. Currently, the quality improvement requires 100,000 golden beast crystal cores. Su Shu's eyes turned red as he stared at the column of quality improvement requirements. Not only has the level of crystal cores required reached gold level, but the quantity required has also increased 100 times. Although this quantity requirement will be reduced 10 times later with the upgrade of quality improving abilities, it is still 10,000 golden beast crystal cores. One golden beast costs 1 million, 10,000 is. Su Shu could no longer calculate, and felt that his head was filled with zeros. Fortunately, after being upgraded to level B, weakness has an additional ability. It can sense the fluctuations of superpowers, and then use weakness on the opponent along with the fluctuations of superpowers. This actually makes up for the shortcomings of weakness. After all, the previous weakness could not be used if it could not see people. Now it makes up for this flaw, making this power more perfect. How's it going, Brother Shu? Kun Sheng looked at Su Shu, who was in a daze, and asked anxiously. Su Shu was brought back to reality by Murensheng's words, and then nodded. It should be almost done. As he spoke, the superpowers in Su Shu's body were running, and then he felt the fluctuations of superpowers around him. Then, Su Shu was shocked because he sensed dense colorful energy fluctuations around him. These colorful energy fluctuations weaved into a huge net, tightly wrapping the three people in it. If it weren't for the weakness of an additional sensory power fluctuation, I'm afraid the three of them would not be able to break this illusion in their lifetime. Then Su Shu picked one of the power fluctuations and directly activated weakness. Suddenly, a colorful antelope appeared in Su Shu's arms. On its head, there is an antelope horn with only one section. It is short and looks very cute. The antelope horns are milky white and crystal clear. At this time, the phantom antelope looked confused. It didn't know why it suddenly appeared here. It wanted to struggle to resist, but found that its whole body was weak and it had no strength to struggle at all. Kun Sheng looked at the phantom antelope that suddenly appeared in Su Shu's arms, and his saliva instantly flowed down the corner of his mouth. He couldn't help but give Su Shu a thumbs up. Brother Shu. Awesome. Su Shu raised his head and looked at the two of them. How do you eat this thing? Wang Yushan. Just add garlic, add fennel and cumin to the ginger. If you need chopsticks, you must put it into your stomach tonight. Su Shu. But we didn't bring garlic, fennel or anything like that. Morale. Let's bake it. It won't taste bad this way. After reaching a consensus, Su Shu directly pulled out the forbidden horn, inserted it directly into the head of the phantom antelope, and directly released the cumin, but the raw material was ginger. Then the three of them started to set up a fire and barbecue, and soon the smell of meat started to rise. Soon, the three of them took the phantom antelope into their stomachs. After eating and drinking, Murakuo lay lazily on the big stone. I didn't expect that I could enjoy it so much at the gate of strange beasts. Wang Yushan, we should think about how to break the illusion. Otherwise we will be trapped in it forever. The village student waved his hands lazily. Don't worry, Brother Shu is here, he will find a way. As long as I follow him, what use do I have with my brain? Su Shu ignored them at this time, holding the forbidden strange horn and the phantom antelope's horn in his hands. At this time, in his induction, there was an extra power in the forbidden angle. Magical quality D. It can create an illusion, and multiple powers can be combined together to form a powerful illusion. Looking at this power, Su Shu suddenly thought, what would happen if this illusion was used on himself? When he thought of it, he had to put it into practice. Su Shu used it directly on himself, while thinking about the composition of the illusion in his mind. Afterwards, Su Shu directly transformed into the appearance of a phantom antelope. At this time, Kun Sheng and Wang Yushan were still bickering and did not notice Su Shu's changes at all. Su Shu couldn't help but lift up his front legs and touch Murenshang. The village student slapped him away. Brother Shu, don't do. Su Shu touched him with his front paw again. This time the village students couldn't help but turn around and look at each other. Suddenly, one person and one sheep looked at each other. There's a ghost. The village student instantly jumped up and dodged aside. What's wrong with you? Wang Yushan turned his head impatiently. Then she ejected instantly and directly summoned the pear gun to stab Su Shu. Su Shu didn't expect Wang Yushan to be so decisive, so he turned around and ran away. After all, he is just a weakling with no attack or defense. If he really takes Wang Yuxian's shot, the whole village will be deprived of it. However, his speed was still not as fast as Wang Yuxian's, and he was about to stab Su Shu in the butt with the pear gun. At the critical moment, Su Shu quickly used the S-level power in the forbidden horn to immobilize Wang Yushan in place. But it was still a step too late, and the pear gun finally stabbed Su Shu in the butt. PFF'd. Ah! Blood splattered everywhere, and Su Shu fell to the ground in pain. The villager came over and gave Wang Yushan a thumbs up. Sister Xian is awesome, killing the beast is like killing a chicken. But Wang Yushan didn't respond, and the villager felt something was wrong, so he raised his hand and waved it in front of Wang Yushan. But the other party didn't move. The villager was anxious. Wang Yushan, what's wrong with you? Speak. Brother Shu, where are you? Wang Yushan is in trouble. Looking left and right, he couldn't find Su Shu, and the villager was immediately disappointed. Brother Shu, Wang Yushan, what's wrong with you? Why did it suddenly become like this? At this time, Su Shu climbed up with difficulty. I'm here. The villager was stunned, turned his head and then looked confused. He clearly remembered that the corpse of the phantom antelope was lying there before. How did it suddenly become Su Shu? But now he couldn't care so much. He hurried over to help Su Shu up. Hiss. The violent movement pulled the wound on his buttocks, and Su Shu grimaced in pain. Wang Yushan was so cruel. The villager then realized. Wang Yushan just stabbed you. But I clearly saw a phantom antelope just now. Su Shu grinned and said, I borrowed the ability of the phantom antelope and transformed into a phantom antelope. The villager suddenly realized. Ah. Can you play like this? Then the villager helped Su Shu to sit down next to him, but as soon as he sat down, he touched the wound on his buttocks again, and Su Shu was so painful that he bounced up directly. In the end, Su Shu simply didn't sit down. What happened to Wang Yushan? The villager asked again in confusion. Su Shu, I used a freeze on her, and she can't move now. The villager's eyes lit up after hearing this. Can't move. Hee hee. Su Shu also reacted after hearing this. His eyes lit up, and he laughed. Hee hee. Kun Sheng and Su Shu went to the side to get the remaining charcoal and started to draw random pictures on Wang Yuxian's face. Then the two of them laughed and took out their mobile phones to take pictures. Although Wang Yushan could not move, if eyes could kill, Su Shu and Kun Sheng would have died countless times. The two were patting each other, and Wang Yushan suddenly chased them with a pear blossom gun. Holy shit, she can move now, run. Su Shu yelled, turned around and ran away with a grin on his face. The village student also turned around and ran away. The two of them were not stupid. they ran separately and did not run in the same direction. Wang Yushan looked left and right, and finally chose to chase the village student. Then the village student's shrill screams echoed throughout the illusion. After the three of them made a fuss for a while, they found a place to sit down and catch their breath. There was a big bulge on the village student's head, which was caused by Wang Yuxian's pear blossom gun. After recovering, Kun Sheng and Wang Yushan turned to look at Su Shu, asking him what to do next. Su Shu, don't look at me. My butt still hurts. Wang Yushan felt a little embarrassed after hearing this. I didn't know that the phantom antelope was you. Sorry, I thought it was a strange beast that came in suddenly. The village student also expressed his opinion. Yes. Brother Shu, you don't know, I was also frightened at that time. There was a strange beast next to me, so close, it was too scary. But Brother Shu, there is something really special about that power you borrowed. Neither Wang Yushan nor I knew it was you. Su Shu rolled his eyes. What would happen what if we all turned into phantom antelopes? Kun Sheng and Wang Yuxian's eyes lit up after hearing this, and at the same time they emitted light like a searchlight. Hurry, 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 I can't wait. Murakuo's face was full of eagerness. Wang Yushan also cast an expectant look at Su Shu. Su Shu nodded, carefully sensing the fluctuations in the surrounding powers, then grabbed one of them and used his weakness. In an instant, a phantom antelope appeared in Su Shu's arms. Su Shu raised the forbidden horn and killed it directly. Subsequently, Su Shu performed the same operation 3 more times. In this way, a total of 3 abilities were obtained. Su Shu, you guys are ready. Later I will pull in the pillar that forms this illusion, which should be a Lord-level phantom antelope. We have to kill it as soon as possible, and then I will use my powers to bring it in. You become a phantom antelope and hide in the phantom antelope herd immediately. If you miss the key, you are likely to be pulled into other illusions alone. Without me, you will be trapped alone and die. Later, Su Shu also figured out that this illusion was supported by the illusion ability of a Lord-level phantom antelope, and the abilities of other phantom antelopes were auxiliary. As long as they kill the Pillar Lord phantom antelope, they can get out. But what Su Shu is most worried about is that the 3 of them will be noticed by other phantom antelopes when they go out, and they will be pulled into the illusion alone, and something big will happen. This was no joke, so Kun Sheng and Wang Yushan put away their playful smiles and nodded seriously. At the moment when Su Shu was weak, cracks suddenly appeared in the surrounding scene, and he was about to shatter. At this time, a relatively large phantom antelope with 3 color horns appeared in Su Shu's arms. PFF'd. The moment the opponent appeared, Wang Yuxian's pear blossom gun came in response and pierced directly into the head of the Lord's phantom antelope. Murakuo stepped forward quickly and reached out to dig out the crystal core. Then the 3 of them jumped up at the same time and ran in one direction. There were more and more cracks in the surrounding scene, and finally it suddenly shattered. When the fragments were scattered, the 3 people turned into 3 ordinary phantom antelopes, running in the mountains. Ba ba ba, ba ba ba. Suddenly, there was a dense sound of sheep bleating all around. Then the 3 of them saw densely packed phantom antelopes scattered among the mountains and rivers. All the ordinary phantom antelopes were staring at the body of the Lord Phantom Antelope and making miserable screams. Kun Sheng and Wang Yushan were a little scared when they saw this scene and stood in the corner without daring to move. In comparison, Su Shu was too courageous. I saw him walking swaggering among the Phantom Antelope group at this time, until he came to the body of the Lord Phantom Antelope, looked up to the sky and let out a shrill cry. Ba ba. The other Phantom Antelopes were infected by his cry, and they raised their heads and let out shrill screams. What? Seeing this, the village student became bolder. He swaggered up to Su Shu and imitated him by shouting. As a result, the sound he made obviously did not feel miserable, but instead had a feeling of schadenfreude in it. Suddenly, all the phantom antelopes seemed to sense something and turned to stare at him. Seeing this, Su Shu quietly retreated into the group of phantom antelopes, and stared at the village students together with the other phantom antelopes. Hey! The village student screamed in grievance, and then quickly ran away. Fortunately, the phantom antelope only heard that his voice was wrong and did not realize that he was not the same kind, so it did not attack. After the phantom antelope dispersed, the 3 of them gathered together again. Su Shu, The power I borrowed can last for up to 1 hour, so you two don't stay too far away from me. Once the time is up, I will use it on you again." Kun Sheng and Wang Yushan nodded, indicating that they understood. It can be seen from the excited eyes of the two that this novel experience makes them very excited. "Let's go, find a hidden corner, and get a few elites first." Then Su Shu took the two to a hidden corner, aimed at an elite phantom antelope and used his supernatural power. Elite phantom antelopes are relatively easy to find, because the horns of ordinary phantom antelopes are milky white. The elite ones are white and green. The lord killed before was white, green and blue. The moment Su Shu used his supernatural power, a phantom antelope elite appeared in his arms. Su Shu raised the forbidden horn without hesitation and inserted it into its head. Then he threw the corpse directly to the village student, and then continued this action. The village student quickly took out the crystal core. This continued for more than 10 times, until there was no elite phantom antelope around. Su Shu stopped. At this time, the 3 people were already piled with the corpses of elite phantom antelopes. Me. After Su Shu stopped, he suddenly let out a shrill cry. This sudden cry scared the village student and Wang Yushan, and they subconsciously stepped back a few steps. Then, the surrounding phantom antelopes were attracted by Su Shu's voice and looked over, and then they saw the bodies of the elite phantom antelopes. Ba, 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 ba. Suddenly, all the phantom antelopes gathered and made shrill cries. Kun Sheng wanted to cry with him, but Su Shu quickly raised his front hoof to cover his mouth. Then, together with Wang Yushan, he pulled Kun Sheng into the flock silently. In the following time, the 3 of them used the same trick again, constantly changing places to hunt elite phantom antelopes and lord phantom antelopes. In just one day, a total of 1,231 elite phantom antelopes and 100 lords were hunted. The total value was more than 20 million, and this speed was almost like robbery. The 3 were so tired at night that they found a cave to rest. Meow. They slept in a daze until midnight, when suddenly there was a startling cry from outside. Although it sounded like a weak sheep cry, it was deafening and woke the 3 of them up from their sleep. Chapter 71. The 3 of them instantly shot up, stood there and looked at each other, with hazy eyes. Wang Yushan. It seems to be the voice of the overlord. Village student. What are you waiting for? Let's go and get it. Then the 2 looked at Su Shu and asked for his opinion. Su Shu would definitely not object, so he nodded directly and used his supernatural power on the 2. In an instant, the 3 of them turned into 3 sheep again. Then they walked out of the cave together. Outside, all the phantom antelopes seemed to be summoned by the overlord of the phantom antelope and gathered in one direction. Su Shu and the other 2 directly mixed in with them and gathered with the sheep. Soon the sheep came to the bottom of a mountain that reached the sky. On the top of the mountain, a huge phantom antelope stood in the moonlight. His size was more than 5 times larger than that of an ordinary phantom antelope, and the pair of horns on his head were composed of 4 colors, white, green, blue, and purple. At this time, it was scanning the phantom antelope group below with a majestic look, with a slight doubt in its eyes. It clearly remembered that there were more than 1,000 elites and more than 100 lords yesterday, but why did it only see a few today? This is very wrong. Me, it roared, as if asking. The villager below quickly turned his head and whispered to Su Shu, "Brother Shu, what did it say?" Su Shu. He asked who stole its underwear. The villager was speechless. "Brother Shu, can't you be more reliable?" Su Shu raised his eyelids. "You asked such an unreliable question first. If I could understand it, then I can roam freely in this horn gate." As he spoke, all the ordinary phantom antelopes raised their heads and made calls. Me me me, me me me. Su Shu and the other 2 joined in and called together. All the phantom antelopes seemed to say they didn't know. At this time, the phantom antelope overlord suddenly turned his head and looked at Su Shu and the other 2. The 3 of them suddenly felt nervous. Wang Yushan couldn't help but complain in a low voice, "Villager, your voice is wrong, it seems that you have been discovered." Su Shu couldn't help but complain, "Villager, if you can't scream, don't scream." While speaking, the phantom antelope overlord on the top of the mountain suddenly jumped down. He landed directly in front of Su Shu and the other 2, staring at them intently. The hearts of the 3 people at this moment were directly raised to their throats. A sentence flashed through the minds of Su Shu and Wang Yushan, "Villager." At this time, the phantom antelope overlord suddenly took a step forward and was very close to the three people. The three people were so scared that they couldn't help but take a step back. Suddenly, it was this action that the phantom antelope overlord confirmed that Su Shu and the other two were wrong, and then the two horns on its head flashed. In the reflection of the night, the flashing colorful light seemed like a disco scene. Village student. Brother Shu, I feel my DNA moving. Su Shu shook his head. I think this scene is more suitable for the principal of our school. While speaking, the two horns on the head of the phantom antelope overlord suddenly merged together, and then lowered his head to attack Su Shu and the other two. At the same time, Su Shu also felt extremely terrifying supernatural fluctuations. After counting carefully, there were as many as 4. It seems that each color of the horns of the phantom antelope represents a supernatural power. At this time, Su Shu knew that if these supernatural powers were fully activated, the three would not have any chance of survival. He only knew one of the illusion supernatural powers, who knew what the other supernatural powers were. Who knows how terrifying the supernatural power of the Black Iron Overlord level is. In a hurry, Su Shu instantly used weakness on him. Instantly, the other party suddenly disappeared and appeared in Su Shu's arms. Or it should be said that it appeared in front of Su Shu, because compared to Su Shu, the other party's body was too big. Ba ba ba, ba ba ba. As if sensing something, the surrounding herds of phantom antelopes suddenly made a cry and rushed towards the three people frantically. The horns of all the surrounding phantom antelopes suddenly lit up at this moment, and the violent white light directly illuminated the entire world, like daylight. If the three were drowned by this group of phantom antelopes, there would be no possibility of survival. This is the horror inside the gate of alien beasts. Compared with the huge number of alien beasts, the same level of superpowers simply have no living space. But now there is no need to care about so much. Su Shu directly took out the forbidden horn and inserted it into the head of the phantom antelope overlord without hesitation. Bah! The phantom antelope overlord could only scream in the end, and then lost his life directly. Su Shu quickly dug out the crystal core, then turned around and ran. Kunsheng and Wang Yushan did not hesitate and hurried to follow. What puzzled Kunsheng and Wang Yushan was that the surrounding phantom antelopes did not chase them. Subconsciously looking back, he suddenly found that all the phantom antelopes were blocked by a transparent wall. The direction in which the three fled was exactly the path left by the transparent wall. Looking at the dense phantom antelopes outside, Kunsheng and Wang Yushan were shocked. Brother Shu, is this also the superpower you borrowed? Kunsheng couldn't help asking. Su Shu said without looking back, the spiritual beast lord that day, called the mental barrier. That time, a total of 4 superpowers were deprived, and now 3 have been used, leaving only 1 claw of strong thoughts. One thing must be said, the superpower of the spiritual beast lord is really powerful, and each has a terrifying effect. At the same time, Su Shu also had a new understanding of the forbidden horn. That is, the superpowers obtained by deprivation, the power released is the same as the power of the deprived. This is also why Su Shu was able to block the Bronze Lord's mental shock with mental shock at that time, because it was a superpower of the same level of strength. And the subsequent immobilization, Wang Yushan was immobilized for more than 10 minutes. At this time, in addition to the claws of strong thoughts, there were 4 superpowers left in the Forbidden Horn, all of which were just taken away from the Phantom Antelope Overlord. The first is D-level illusion, the second is C-level illusion space, the third is B-level dream, and the fourth is A-level phantom horn attack. And the A-level phantom horn attack is the attack skill that Wang Yushan has always dreamed of. The grade is not high, but if it is combined with her pear blossom spear, it can exert a terrifying power. We can only wait and see whether the king-level phantom antelope will have an S-level phantom horn attack. If so, Wang Yuxian's pear blossom spear will be qualitatively improved. Seeing that the phantom antelopes were blocked outside and could not get close, the village student began to relax, and even stopped and made a face at the phantom antelopes. Run, I don't know how long this mental barrier can last, and it's under the attack of so many phantom antelopes. Su Shu reminded the village student while running. Although the village student heard the reminder, he didn't take it to heart and continued to provoke the phantom antelopes. It was also because of his provocation that most of the phantom antelopes focused their attention on him. This gave Su Shu and Wang Yushan a good opportunity to escape. As the two disappeared from the sight of the phantom antelopes, the village student didn't notice that the mental barrier suddenly disappeared unconsciously. At this time, he was still constantly provoking the phantom antelopes. Bang bang bang. Ah! The sudden scream of the village student came, making both Su Shu and Wang Yushan feel pain for him. However, the two of them were not very worried. Mirase's earth armor can defend against spiritual attacks, and it must also be able to defend against fantasy attacks. However, there is no lord in the Phantom Antelope group, so there is no one who can pose a threat to him. The two of them were lying on the big rocks in the distance, gloating over the village students who were being pushed up into the sky by the herd of phantom antelopes. They felt very comfortable. In the end, it was Wang Yushan who couldn't bear it anymore and reminded him, Su Shu, please save him. Don't let anything happen. Su Shu also stopped gloating about his misfortune and used his superpower to pull the village student over. Lying weakly on the ground, the village student couldn't help but complain, why didn't you remind me? It's so boring. Wang Yushan raised his eyebrows, who didn't remind you? If you don't listen, who do you blame? The village boy lay on the ground and rolled around and said, I don't listen, I just didn't hear your reminder, you just didn't remind me. Su Shu and Wang Yushan looked at each other, and then said in unison, beat him. Then the two of them grabbed the village boy and beat him until he begged for mercy. After the villagers recovered, the three of them found a cave to hide. This time I was too tired, so I didn't absorb the crystal core, but lay on the ground and fell asleep. Su Shu was the last one to sleep. Looking at the sleeping village student, driven by strong curiosity, Su Shu used the dream ability in the Forbidden Horn on him. Suddenly, Su Shu felt an illusion before his eyes, and then fell asleep. In a daze, Su Shu finally regained consciousness. He felt like he was standing in the air, but when he looked down, he couldn't see his body. It was empty, as if it had turned into air. Is this what it means to be in a dream? Can you watch other people's dreams from God's perspective? After saying something softly, Su Shu looked down. Found yourself in a splendid palace. The village student was wearing a dragon robe, with a yellow strip of cloth covering his eyes. Opposite him stood a stunning woman wearing a light veil. At this time, the woman smiled brightly, covered her mouth with her jade hands, and made a sound like a silver bell, Your Majesty, come and catch me. Su Shu couldn't help but be startled. Could this be the village student's girlfriend, Wang Dagong? No one answered Su Shu, only the village student's extremely obscene laughter. Hehehehe, Gangzi's beloved concubine, I'm here. With that said, he rushed directly towards Wang Dagong. Kekekek, Your Majesty, this way. Wang Dagong dodged the village boy who rushed towards him and let out a silver bell-like laugh. Su Shu was speechless in the air. He didn't expect Morao to play so pervertedly. Wait, Su Shu suddenly thought, since he can see the other person's dream, can he change it? Thinking about trying it, Su Shu then tried to control the entire dream and make changes in the direction he expected. Then, Wang Dagong's face began to change, and slowly turned into the face of Chief Zhao Shilan. And the village student's words also changed. Beloved concubine of Stone Forest, I am here. Then Su Shu saw a very eye-catching scene. He made various attempts, but could not exit the dream. And he couldn't stop himself from seeing the scene below, so he could only endure the nausea and watched it all night. When he woke up the next day, the village boy ran directly to the entrance of the cave and vomited. Su Shu, who got up later, was also pale and felt extremely uncomfortable. He felt uncomfortable in his heart. This superpower really hurts the enemy 1,000 times and damages oneself 800 times. Kun Shang, what's wrong with you? Wang Yushan also got up at this time and subconsciously asked Kun Shang. The village student turned his head, with a guilty look in his eyes, and waved his hands quickly. I don't know what's going on, but I just feel a little nauseous. Maybe it's because I'm not used to the phantom antelope meat. Okay, Wang Yushan didn't ask any more questions. However, Morao clearly felt guilty. After a long time, he couldn't help but look at the two of them and asked, what do you think would happen if you dreamed of a man? PFF'd. Su Shu couldn't help it and laughed. The village student suddenly looked at Su Shu suspiciously. Brother Shu, why are you laughing? Su Shu waved his hands quickly. No, I didn't laugh. Kun Sheng pointed at Su Shu. I saw it with my own eyes. You just smiled. Why did you laugh? Su Shu held back his laughter and waved his hands. It's impossible. I've been professionally trained. No matter how funny it is, I won't laugh unless I can't help it. After hearing this, the village student became even more suspicious. Do you know something? Su Shu's face straightened. What can I know? Are you hiding something from us? The village student suddenly became confused again. Something was wrong. Thinking about it, Su Shu couldn't possibly know his dream. But why is he laughing? Wang Yushan was also confused by the two of them, but she also suspected that Su Shu must know something. Okay, pack up quickly, let's go find the king beast. Su Shu calmed down and said, but the smile on his face could not be hidden. Although the village students had doubts, they could not explain why, and in the end they could only let it go. Su Shu then used the fantasy space power in the Forbidden Horn, and then brought in 2 ordinary fantasy antelopes to deprive him of the power. It will be used to transform Wang Yushan and Kun Sheng later. The 3 of them took one of the phantom antelopes and put it into their stomachs before setting off. After searching for a day, the whereabouts of the king-level beast was not found. Instead, he hunted more than 1,000 elite phantom antelopes, more than 100 lords, and an overlord. Then the 3 of them found a place to rest. At night, Su Shu once again used the dreaming ability deprived of during the day to enter the village students' dreams. This time, the boy Murakuo's dream actually changed place, into the wild. Since the other party has changed, Su Shu must also change. This time Su Shu replaced Wang Dagong with Principal Wang Wuchen. Then came another eye-popping night. Early the next morning, the village student woke up and vomited again. After vomiting, he sat down on the ground and looked up at the sky, looking listless. At this time, Su Shu also sat up. Kun Sheng quickly turned to look at Su Shu and asked, Brother Shu, what do you mean when you often dream about men? Su Shu pretended to be surprised. Dream about a man. Who did you dream about? Morale. Last night I dreamed of a middle-aged man with blue hair and a blue beard. It always felt weird. Su Shu had a strange look on his face, but he was actually suppressing a smile. Mushung. As the saying goes, you have something to think about every day, and something to dream about at night. You wouldn't dream about being like them, would you? Then you should take a good look at your orientation. Quote. After hearing this, Morale thought carefully and then shook his head suddenly. Impossible, my orientation is absolutely normal. At this time, Wang Yushan suddenly sat up and said suspiciously, Who did you say you were dreaming about? Blue hair and blue beard. The village student nodded. Yes, he is a middle-aged man with blue hair and a blue beard. Wang Yushan looked extremely strange. You wouldn't dream of being with him. The village student looked troubled, but nodded lightly. Wang Yushan groaned in disgust, then showed doubts and subconsciously glanced at Su Shu, who was suppressing a smile. After a long pause, the village student finally recovered. The 3 of them regrouped and set off. Not long after setting off, the 3 finally discovered some clues about the king beast. The 3 of them turned into 3 phantom antelopes and walked in the mountains. Wang Yushan deliberately lagged behind the village student, came to Su Shu, and whispered, Do you know anything about the village student's dream? Su Shu hurriedly shook his sheep's head. I don't know anything. Wang Yushan was even more suspicious. I can tell at a glance, can you see his dream? Su Shu saw that he could no longer hide it, so he had to hold back his laughter and said, I seem to be able to enter his dream, I saw him and our principal doing that. Wang Yushan gritted her teeth after hearing this. Wang Wuchen, he actually cheated in his dream. Su Shu was dumbfounded. This is obviously the village student's dream. What does it have to do with our principal? Wang Yushan pursed her lips. Is he not wrong? Su Shu. At this time, Su Shu just understood what it meant to be a woman's heart, a needle in the sea. Wang Yushan gritted her teeth and said, And Kunsheng, this big pervert, his dream is so perverted. I must tell Wang Dagong when I get back. Su Shu hurriedly persuaded. Yushan, dreams are not something that people can control, and the same is true for Kunsheng. He certainly can't control it. It can only be said that what you think about during the day, you dream about at night. He may just like men. Wang Yushan thought about it after hearing it, and then suddenly thought of something. Wait, Kunsheng and I are in the same school. He has never seen your principal. How could he dream about him? Are you hiding something from me? Su Shu hurriedly shook his head and walked forward. I don't know, don't ask me. I don't understand. After that, he directly caught up with Kunsheng with a guilty conscience and walked side by side with him. Su Shu's action made Wang Yushan more suspicious, but Su Shu was walking with Kunsheng now, and she couldn't talk about this matter anymore. In the end, she could only suppress her unwillingness and follow the two. Not long after walking, the three suddenly saw a dense crowd of elites and Lord Phantom antelopes, but there were not many ordinary ones. 3 pairs of eyes suddenly lit up, and the villager almost drooled. Brother Shu, hurry up, I see a dense number of crystal cores. Su Shu nodded, and the 3 of them found a hidden corner and started today's slaughter. But after killing a few, 2 phantom antelope overlords suddenly came over, as if they had discovered something wrong. Then they disappeared one after another, and the crystal cores were successfully taken out. The villager held 2 overlord crystal cores and was a little confused. Why did 2 overlords appear at once? Su Shu said indifferently, 2 overlords are not good. The villager nodded quickly. Okay. Of course, the more the better. Then the 3 of them killed more and more vigorously, and crystal cores were collected one by one. If Su Shu's superpowers are exhausted, the 3 of them will stop and absorb the crystal cores together. This is very helpful for the training of superpowers. Every time Su Shu recovers a few times, he can release one more superpower. To date, Su Shu has been able to successfully release weakness 20 times at a time, all of which are the result of the training in the past 2 days. There were also several overlords on the way, but they were all killed. The 3 of them actually realized that the appearance of so many Lord elites at the same time in this place meant that something was wrong here. But so what, with so many elites, lords, and overlords in front of them, would the 3 of them be willing to let them go? During another break, Su Shu couldn't help but look up and ask Wang Yushan, who was absorbing the crystal core, when will you reach the bronze level? The real purpose of the 3 people's trip was to capture the king-level beast for Wang Yushan to extract the superpowers. And the premise of all this is that Wang Yushan reaches the bronze level. Otherwise, even if they caught it, the 3 of them would not be able to control it for long, and they could only kill it to get the crystal core, which would be a waste. Wang Yushan listened carefully and then said, it's almost there. I think I can reach it in the afternoon. Su Shu nodded. Okay, then I'll get you a king-level beast in the afternoon. Wang Yuxian's eyes lit up after hearing this. Really? Su Shu looked at the group of phantom antelopes over there and nodded. I think there is a king-level phantom antelope over here. The result is that the 3 of them spent more than 10 days killing. Wang Yushan had reached bronze for several days. The crystal cores hunted by the 3 of them have filled 7 or 8 sacks, and the crystal cores of elite phantom antelopes have reached more than 10,000. The Lord has more than 1,000, and the Overlord has more than 100. Su Shu can release all his abilities for 50 or 60 times at this time, and he predicts that he will soon reach bronze. But there is still no sign of a decrease in the number of elite phantom antelopes over there. After more than 10 days, Kunsheng still had that perverted dream every night. At this time, he was pale and listless. During another break, Wang Yushan couldn't help but ask, Su Shu, where is the king-level phantom antelope? Su Shu waved his hand. You can't eat hot tofu in a hurry. Wang Yushan looked at the 7 or 8 sacks piled next to her and couldn't help but ask, with so many crystal cores, how can we take them out when the time comes? Su Shu, you'd better not worry about it. Su Shu didn't want to think about whether he could take them out or not. He just wanted to kill them first and put them in the sacks, so that he could feel satisfied. Kunsheng raised his spirits. Brother Shu, have you noticed that something is wrong here? Logically speaking, we have killed tens of thousands of exotic beasts, and the number of elite phantom antelopes should have decreased, but the number of phantom antelopes on the opposite side seems to have not changed. This is actually the point that Su Shu and Wang Yushan are puzzled about. Su Shu then stared at that side, and then whispered, why don't we go in and take a look? Kunsheng and Wang Yushan nodded at the same time to express their agreement. After the 3 reached a consensus, they dug a big pit together, buried all the crystal cores in it, and then turned into the appearance of the Overlord Phantom Antelope, and walked in together. Because they now look like Overlord Phantom Antelopes, everything went smoothly, and no Phantom Antelope dared to stop them. The three of them passed through the elite phantom antelope herd, and then through the Lord Phantom antelope herd. Finally, they entered the Overlord Phantom antelope herd. Looking at the densely packed Overlord Phantom antelopes around them, the three people's hearts were trembling with every step, and their hearts were raised to their throats. Even when they walked, their feet were flashing. "Look over there," Kun Sheng suddenly spoke. Su Shu quickly raised his hand and blocked his stinky mouth with his front hoof. Looking around, they saw the Overlord Phantom antelopes around them turning their heads to stare at them, and then turning their heads away. The three of them relaxed and continued to walk in carefully. The reason why the villager spoke was because in front of them, there were densely packed king beasts, phantom antelopes, standing there. Each king beast phantom antelope was very huge, standing there like a small mountain. The horns on their heads were all 5 colors, indicating their identity as king beasts. The terrifying oppressive feeling they exuded made the three people feel suffocated. At this time, the villager turned his head to look at Su Shu and Wang Yushan, and asked them with his eyes, "Should we continue to move forward?" "I'm scared." Su Shu glared at Kun Sheng directly, meaning, "What the hell, so many phantom antelope king beasts gathered here, there must be something wrong. Are you willing not to go and see?" Murakuo could only nod in the end. The curiosity in his heart made him want to take action, and then the three of them continued to move forward. He walked directly into the group of king beasts and antelopes. At this time, the hearts of the three people were tightening even more. Every step they took was cautious, and their hearts were trembling. Not long after walking, the three of them passed through a group of king beasts, phantom antelopes. Then the three of them saw the most shocking scene since they were born. Looking up, I saw an emperor-level phantom antelope standing there, blocking out the sky and the sun. Because they were too tall, the three of them could only see their lower bodies, while their upper bodies were hidden in the clouds. The black iron-level emperor-level beasts are as powerful as human diamond-level superpowers, and each one is extremely terrifying in strength. And with so many imperial-level beasts in front of us, diamond-level superpowers can only run away if they come over. Not to mention diamond-level superpowers, even if Ultraman comes, his leather cover will have to be taken off. Even if the Transformers come, they will be turned into scrap metal. Even when Thanos comes, he will leave behind his big bald head. At this time, the village student turned his head again and asked Su Shu and Wang Yushan, "Do you want to go in?" "I'm scared to pee." Su Shu glared again, gritted his teeth, and walked forward directly. The three of them even walked directly under the crotch of those emperor-level phantom antelopes. Every step they took seemed to pass by the god of death. Finally, with the beating of their hearts, the three of them finally passed through the herd of imperial-level phantom antelopes. Then they saw a phantom antelope that covered the sky and the sun. Although only the lower body could be seen, the terrifying pressure coming from it instantly made the three people's legs weaken and they knelt directly on the ground. The three of them were shocked and felt unable to move. This is actually a legendary phantom antelope. An existence comparable to a master-level superpower. What made the three of them breathe a sigh of relief was that the legendary phantom antelope didn't notice them at this time, otherwise it would have been impossible for Su Shu to hide the phantom power from it. Then the three of them looked in the direction where the legendary phantom antelope was looking. Then he saw a lake. In the lake, there was an island with an egg made of 8 colors on it. Su Shu and the others counted carefully, and then they were all shocked at the same time. 8 colors, how is that possible? You must know that the legendary phantom antelope in front of them at this time only has 7 colors of horns on its head. Could it be that that egg is something beyond the legendary level? But how is this possible? There is no record in the book. But seeing is believing, so the three of them couldn't help but believe it. Su Shu decided to burn the textbook when he went back. There was no record of it, so what was the use of it? The three of them looked at each other, and then squirmed backwards in unison. It's not that they don't want to stand up and walk, but the three of them are now suppressed by the terrifying pressure of supernatural powers. Their whole bodies are soft, as if they have been weakened and unable to stand up at all. As a result, after squirming for a long time, the group of imperial-level phantom antelopes still hadn't emerged. At this time, the three of them had only one thing in their minds. They were fine when they came here, but they were quite awkward, but in the end they couldn't go back. But no matter how difficult it is, I will definitely have to go back. It is too depressing to stay here. If the Emperor-class phantom antelope above moves even slightly, the three of them will be black and blue. Being under the crotch of an Emperor-level beast all the time seems very dangerous, but in fact it is not safe at all. In this environment, the three of them did not even dare to say a word. It was not until dark and midnight that the three of them finally figured out where the king-level phantom antelope group was. At this time, the three of them finally recovered. While they breathed a sigh of relief, they were no longer so scared. Su Shu stood up directly and walked outside in a swaggering manner. Seeing this, Kun Sheng and Wang Yushan were no longer so nervous and quickly stood up to follow. It wasn't until they got out of the phantom antelope group and returned to the place where the crystal core was buried that the three of them breathed a sigh of relief. After returning to their human form, they sat down directly on the ground. Murakuo wiped the sweat from his forehead. It's so exciting. While Su Shu breathed a sigh of relief, he couldn't help but ask, are the dreams you had during this time as exciting? Then he realized he had said the wrong thing. Immediately afterwards, Murakuo suddenly looked at Su Shu with murderous eyes. Why do you know the dreams I have had these days? Tell me, is it your fault? He couldn't help but doubt it, mainly because he had never had such a dream before. But during this period, he did it every day without stopping for a day, and Su Shu showed an expression that seemed to know something every time, which made him not suspicious. Wang Yushan suddenly spoke at this time. The ordinary magic antelope's power is illusion. The elites has the illusion space. What does the lords have? The overlord seems to be the strike of the phantom horn. I just suddenly remembered that when I read the information before, it seemed to be a power related to dreams. I didn't pay much attention at the time, so I can't remember it clearly. As soon as these words came out, Murinshang's eyes spurted out flames and he rushed directly towards Su Shu. I knew it was you. You borrowed the power of dreaming, entered my dream and modified my dream. You've made me so sick these days, I'm not done with you. The two immediately began to fight violently, rolling on the ground. Wang Yushan looked at them with no intention of stepping forward to help. During this period, Su Shu often changed Wang Wuchen into the dream of the village student and did that with him. She actually cared a lot and had been brooding over it. It was good enough that she didn't go up to help the village student. At this time, Su Shu pulled the village student's head. Kunsheng, don't believe what Wang Yushan said. She is actually trying to sow discord. Kunsheng, I don't believe him, I believe you. It's you, this fool, it must be you. No one else has this ability except you. Su Shu, if you do this again, continue tonight. After these words came out, the village student stopped immediately and dared not move. Over the past 10 days, he has had a deep shadow on that kind of dream. Su Shu pushed the village student away. Humph, I told you to use Wang Yuxian's mobile phone to send me a message before. If you dare to do it again next time, I will let you have this kind of dream for the rest of your life. Kunsheng, how can you still remember it? Why are you so grudgeful? Su Shu, I will never forget it for the rest of my life. After fighting and making trouble, the truth was found. It was late at night, and the three decided to rest first and wait until tomorrow to catch the king-level phantom antelope for Wang Yushan. Su Shu had just laid down when the earth-shaking snoring of Kunsheng and Wang Yushan came from beside him, which immediately made Su Shu lose his sleep. Kunsheng's dream obviously couldn't be changed anymore. He had been changed for more than 10 days in a row, and it was time for him to have a good rest. As for watching, Su Shu thought it was meaningless. After all, Kunsheng's dreams were very perverted, and it would be uncomfortable to read them. In the end, Su Shu would not be able to help but change them, so there was no need to watch. Out of curiosity, Su Shu turned his head to look at Wang Yushan, and then used the dream entering ability. Dad, Su Shu regained consciousness in a daze, and then heard a childish voice. Then Su Shu saw that under the sunlight, the grass was green, and a little girl threw herself into the arms of a blue-haired boy. A closer look revealed that the little girl's face was somewhat similar to Wang Yushan. And looking at the blue-haired boy again, it turned out to be the principal Wang Wuchen, who looked like he looked when he was young. Su Shu was dumbfounded, and his head was buzzing. He would never have thought that Wang Yushan was actually the daughter of the principal Wang Wuchen. Wait, both of them have the surname Wang, and I should have thought that it was arranged by that old guy. No wonder Wang Yushan reacted so much when the village student dreamed of the principal these days. It turned out to be this reason. But why did the old guy Wang Wuchen arrange Wang Yushan to be his teammate? After thinking carefully, Su Shu also figured it out. After getting rid of the village student and Li Yafei, the two people's abilities were actually the most tacit. Su Shu was responsible for control and Wang Yushan was responsible for attack. The extra villagers can pull monsters, and Li Yafei assists in restoring abilities. This is actually a very perfect combination, but the result is that Li Yafei is too proud, which causes the entire team to fall apart. This is a waste of Wang Wuchen's painstaking efforts. After thinking it through, Su Shu looked at Wang Wuchen and Wang Yushan again, and then had a different idea in his mind. Then the young Wang Wuchen turned into Su Shu's appearance, but his hair was still blue. Touching Wang Yuxian's little head, Su Shu whispered, "Yushan, call daddy." The young Wang Yushan raised her little head and called in a very childish tone, "Dad." Su Shu only felt a sense of comfort rushing straight to the top of his head, which was simply refreshing. "Dad, you haven't been with me for a long time. Come play with me." The young Wang Yushan raised her head again and looked at Su Shu. Su Shu nodded. "Yushan, wait for daddy for a while." As he said that, Su Shu walked to the side and rode a motorcycle to Wang Yushan. There was a big speaker hanging on the back of the motorcycle. He shook his head violently, shook his blue hair, and smiled evilly at Wang Yushan. "Little Yushan, get on the car, daddy will take you for a ride." Wang Yushan was immediately delighted, and hurriedly ran over and climbed on the motorcycle happily, and hugged Su Shu directly from the back. "Dad, you are so nice." Su Shu started the motorcycle. "Let's go." Then, Su Shu took Wang Yushan to gallop in the dream, passing through thousands of mountains and rivers, and seeing all the beautiful scenery in the world. Unconsciously, Su Shu found himself awake. As soon as he opened his eyes, Su Shu immediately saw Wang Yuxian's murderous eyes staring at him. Su Shu was so scared that he sat up directly. "Yushan, you listen to my quibbling." "I don't listen to shit." Wang Yushan gritted his teeth and squeezed out a few words, and then directly summoned the pear blossom gun. Su Shu quickly got up and ran. Wang Yushan chased after him with a pear blossom spear. I don't know if it was intentional or unintentional, but when the two of them were chasing each other, they didn't pay attention and someone stepped on the village student who was sleeping. "Gotcha." "Ah." With a scream, the village student sat up directly. "Who the hell stepped on my hand?" Su Shu quickly raised his hand and pointed at Wang Yushan. Wang Yushan stepped on it. Wang Yushan was even more angry when she saw this, and raised the pear blossom spear to point at Su Shu. "It doesn't matter who stepped on it, today I must make your ass bloom." After hearing this, the village student jumped up and shouted, "You know it's broken. No, you have to be responsible for my second half of life." "Su Shu, your lower body. Ask those men you dreamed of to be responsible. How can we be responsible?" Then, the three of them quarreled for a while. Anyway, no one would give in to the other. Finally, out of curiosity, the village student couldn't help but turn around and ask Wang Yushan, "What did the Su Shu do to you?" Wang Yushan gritted her teeth and pointed the pear blossom spear at Su Shu. "He changed my dream." As for what it changed, Wang Yushan didn't want to say it, it was too embarrassing. After hearing this, the village student was immediately curious and turned to look at Su Shu. "Brother Shu, what did it change to?" Su Shu said mysteriously, "In the dream, I am his father." "Ah, I'm not done with you." Wang Yushan was so angry after hearing this that she chased Su Shu with the pear blossom spear. The village student was stunned at first, and when he reacted, he hurriedly shouted, "Brother Shu, take me with you next time. I want to be a grandfather." Immediately, the two people who were chasing turned their heads at the same time and said in unison, "Get out." The three of them stopped fighting until noon. Su Shu panted, "Okay, stop making trouble, get ready, and catch the king-level phantom antelope." Wang Yushan and the village students were in awe after hearing this, and finally put away the idea of playing around. After the three of them prepared, they went outside. Su Shu closed his eyes and sensed. Luckily, they had seen those king-level phantom antelopes last night, so they should be able to use weakness to pull one over. As Su Shu sensed, he used weakness. Suddenly, the three of them felt a flash in front of their eyes, and suddenly a huge phantom antelope appeared in front of them. The huge size of the other party even directly blocked the sight of the three people in front. The king-level phantom antelope was also confused, not knowing what was going on. Wang Yushan, hurry up, absorb it, whether you can get the phantom horn attack depends on your luck. Wang Yushan did not dare to hesitate, and quickly put her hand on the king-level phantom antelope, and then immediately used her supernatural power to pull it. Then, a beam of light composed of 5 colors rushed out from the body of the king-level phantom antelope, hitting Wang Yushan directly and spreading out 4 colors. Meow! The king-level phantom antelope screamed, then closed its eyes and fell asleep forever. The superpower was taken away, and it died directly. Then Wang Yushan closed her eyes to sense, then looked up and said in surprise, "It's done, S-level phantom gun." But she didn't see Su Shu and Kunsheng, and looked up carefully, only to find that the two had run far away without knowing it. Two fools. Wang Yushan couldn't help complaining, and then hurriedly followed. However, the three of them ran and couldn't help turning their heads, but found that there was no movement on the king beast's side. Then the three of them came back. Su Shu couldn't help looking at the small lake. The death of the king-level beast didn't cause any movement. You can imagine how important the egg is. How is it? What superpower? Su Shu, who came back to his senses, couldn't help asking. Wang Yushan was speechless. I just said that you ran away, and now I have to say it again. The S-level phantom gun can transform into 10 gun shadows that are difficult to distinguish between true and false after it is used. Only 2 are real. The number of real and fake gun shadows will increase as the strength of my supernatural power increases. After the real gun pierces the target, it will make the opponent fall into an illusion. Su Shu and Kunsheng were about to congratulate Wang Yushan, but suddenly looked up and looked into the distance. Boom! 8 colorful lights suddenly shot up into the sky. At the same time, a heart-pounding sense of oppression came over them, forcing the three of them to kneel on the ground. Wang Yushan and Kunsheng quickly turned to look at Su Shu, wanting to ask him what to do. As a result, the two of them widened their eyes, full of disbelief. It was because at this time, Su Shu was holding a phantom antelope with 2 horns composed of 8 colors in his arms. At this time, Kunsheng and Wang Yushan only felt a thunder in their heads, and their whole brains were in thunder. Su Shu's head was also confused at this time. When the 8 colors of light rushed into the sky, he sensed the extraordinary supernatural fluctuations in it. He immediately felt that the DNA moved, and subconsciously used supernatural powers on it. In theory, his weakness should be ineffective against it. With his current strength, it can only be effective against king-level beasts. The result is that he actually succeeded. Do you dare to believe that he succeeded? You interrupted my supernatural power absorption. Just give me another 30 minutes, just 30 minutes, ah! Suddenly, a vigorous and powerful old smoker's voice resounded in Su Shu's heart. Su Shu was frightened by this voice and almost threw the phantom antelope in his hand. But Su Shu calmed down immediately, and then took out the forbidden horn and stabbed it at the other party. Dang! With a crisp sound, the forbidden horn seemed to touch a steel object, and even bounced back directly. Why are you using this thing to stab me? The voice of the old smoker sounded again in his heart. Su Shu was speechless, not a single hair was stabbed off, and he subconsciously replied in his heart, "Ah. I'm just grinding my horns." Su Shu also roughly guessed that it should be the phantom antelope in his arms that spoke in his heart. Unless you have the ability to completely control it, it will be useless to me. The old smoker spoke again. Do you know what it is? Su Shu asked subconsciously. The old smoker. I know. Su Shu. What? I won't tell you. The old smoker said unhappily. Su Shu. Naughty. Ba mea mea. Ba mea mea. Ba mea mea. As he spoke, the calls of phantom antelopes suddenly rang out in the entire alien beast space. These sounds were strong and weak. The weak ones seemed to come from ordinary phantom antelopes, and the strong ones came from king beasts, emperor beasts, and even the legendary phantom antelope. Each cry contained a terrifying sense of supernatural oppression, which directly pressed the three people to the ground and made them unable to move. They looked up with difficulty and looked at each other, and everyone had a sense of despair and powerlessness in their eyes. Boy, untie me, I will take you out. Suddenly, the voice of the old smoker of the phantom antelope sounded in Su Shu's heart. Su Shu was puzzled. Why did you help me? Phantom antelope. You'd better not care, I don't need to tell you the reason when I do things. Su Shu. I can't untie it, it will be released naturally when the time comes. Anyway, controlling the other party now means death, and not controlling the other party means death, so it's better to take a gamble. The waiting time is destined to be long, and the 4 minutes of weakness is destined to be a torment. Kunsheng's eyes were full of despair. He turned to Su Shu and said weakly, Brother Shu, after I die, you must take my wabe to my father and ask him to pay it back for me. Su Shu, what the hell? We have worked together for so long, and the money we have earned is enough for an ordinary person to live a lifetime. You still owe wabe. Kunsheng did not answer Su Shu's question, but said, you must make him pay it back. He owes me that. Su Shu was speechless, but do you think I can get out? Kunsheng became even more desperate after hearing this. At this time, Wang Yushan also turned around and said solemnly, Su Shu, among the three of us, you are the most likely to get out alive. If you can see Wang Wuchen, tell me that I love him. Su Shu, I didn't say I couldn't take you out. Your emotions make me pessimistic. Kunsheng and Wang Yuxian's eyes widened after hearing this, and they said in unison, why didn't you say it earlier? Kunsheng. Brother Shu, you're too much. You made me spit out the shameful secret. Wang Yushan blushed. When I recover, I will definitely poke your ass into pieces. Su Shu spread his hands weakly. Then we'd better not go out. Let's die here together. Kunsheng and Wang Yushan were about to speak to Su Shu, but at this moment, the earth shook. Rumble. The dense footsteps came, and then a huge phantom antelope ran towards them. Behind them, there were also dense phantom antelopes. In the eyes, the figures of phantom antelopes were all between the sky and the earth. The leader was none other than the legendary phantom antelope. In just a moment, the three were surrounded by dense phantom antelopes. The legendary phantom antelope lowered its huge head and looked at Su Shu and the other two, then actually spoke in human language, ha ha ha, I didn't expect that a small human could make God so weak and feeble. This is a blessing for me. As it spoke, the two horns on its head suddenly burst into a dazzling white light, shooting straight at Su Shu and the other two. Su Shu saw this and yelled, you are not in the same group. After saying that, he used up his last bit of strength to throw the old smoke-voiced phantom antelope out of his arms. The old smoke-voiced phantom antelope is not big, even smaller than ordinary phantom antelopes, so it is not heavy, so it can be thrown out easily by Su Shu. You kid, throw out that horn too, otherwise I can't bear it. How can I save you then? After hearing this, Su Shu did not allow any doubts, and quickly threw out the forbidden horn. The old smoker in the air quickly turned around and caught the forbidden horn with his claws, then turned around in the air and used the forbidden horn to face the closed white light. Boom boom, the white light hit the forbidden horn, making a deafening and terrifying sound. However, the white light did not cause any damage to the forbidden horn, but shot straight into the sky, piercing the clouds, and created a huge black hole in the sky. Seeing this scene, Su Shu couldn't help but whispered, the legendary beast is really so terrifying. Villager. This ability is awesome. The attack of the phantom horn was blocked, causing the legendary phantom antelope to be stunned for a while. Then, it showed anger on its face, and the colorful light of the two horns on its head suddenly bloomed, covering Su Shu and the other two. At this critical moment, the old smoke voice who landed on the ground was happy, recovered. Then the 8 colors of the two horns on his head suddenly moved rhythmically, as if they were alive. Then, the light suddenly bloomed, directly covering Su Shu and the other two. Suddenly, the bodies of the 3 people broke directly, and the forbidden horn that fell to the ground also shattered together. The ground was also like the surface of water, shattered in an instant, and suddenly splashed up, like water. Legend Phantom Antelope looked at the scene in front of him with disbelief in his eyes. Then the 2 horns on its head burst into a strong white light and shot directly to the ground. Boom! The ground exploded directly, and a huge mushroom cloud rose. But through the flying mud and sand, Legend Phantom Antelope did not see the figures of Su Shu and the other two, including the old smoke-voiced Phantom Antelope, not even a trace of them. When the dust settled, there was only an endless deep pit on the ground. Seeing this, Legend Phantom Antelope was angry and let out a thunderous and domineering roar of anger, me. Human, I want you all to die. Human, if we are wrong, Please punish me with the law, you don't need to punish me. Love honey, love honey, love honey. I just want to see your face. Hello. Wang Wuchen was awakened by the ringing of the phone in his sleep, and quickly got up to answer the call. Zhao Shilan's voice came immediately from the other end of the phone. Old Wang, get up quickly. Have you seen the notice from the supernatural army? Wang Wuchen was surprised. I didn't look, I was sleeping, what's wrong? Zhao Shilan. The Gate of Horns has erupted, and the number is huge. Judging from this situation, there is a high chance that legendary beasts will appear later. The superiors have summoned the supernatural forces around us to control them. Come here quickly and take me with you. Wang Wuchen was stunned after hearing this. After a long pause, he subconsciously asked, is it the Horn Gate where Su Shu and the others entered? Zhao Shilan. Who else can it be? Hurry up. Hiss. Wang Wuchen subconsciously took a breath of air, quickly got up and put on his clothes, then used teleportation to find Zhao Shilan, and then took him to the door of the Horn Gate. At this time, there was chaos outside the Horn Gate, and dense phantom antelopes emerged from the cracks in the space. Figures streaked across the sky, and troops with supernatural powers kept coming towards us. There are also supernatural troops at the Gate of Horns who are constantly killing phantom antelopes. There were also some supernatural troops standing there with silly smiles on their faces. Some disappeared suddenly, apparently being pulled into the fantasy space. After Zhao Shilan came over, he flew directly to the Horn Gate. At the same time, snowflakes suddenly began to fall in the surrounding sky. Countless phantom antelopes were directly frozen into ice blocks after hitting the snowflakes, and then shattered and died. Wang Wuchen also flew over when he saw this. A transparent long sword appeared in his hand, and then he disappeared completely. When he reappeared, he was already among the phantom antelope group. The transparent long sword in his hand swung out and cut a phantom antelope in half. The cut was smooth and not a drop of blood flowed out. Then Wang Wuchen kept flashing among the phantom antelopes, and every time he appeared, he swung his sword to kill a strange beast. In just a short time, countless phantom antelopes died under Wang Wuchen's sword. Click, click. The snow in the sky was getting heavier and heavier, and large tracts of phantom antelopes died. With the addition of Zhao Shilan and Wang Wuchen, the pressure on the supernatural army has been significantly reduced. What? At this time, terrifying screams kept coming from the cracks in the Horn Gate space. The oppressive feeling caused by the cry made even Wang Wuchen and Zhao Shilan feel a little palpitated. It's the Overlord. Wang Wuchen's eyes widened a bit. Then a huge phantom antelope walked out of the space crack. Its size is obviously more than 5 or 6 times larger than the ordinary phantom antelope. The pair of horns on the head come in 4 colors. Old Zhao, freeze it and I'll kill it. Wang Wuchen shouted to Zhao Shilan next to him. Zhao Shilan said nothing and nodded in agreement. In an instant, the snowflakes in the sky suddenly gathered and fell directly on the Overlord phantom antelope. Kakaka, ice crystals kept freezing on the opponent's body, and then shattered as it moved, making a clicking sound. However, the opponent's movements obviously became slower as a result. Wang Wuchen took this opportunity to dodge and appear next to the Overlord phantom antelope. He swung the transparent long sword in his hand and chopped off his head. But at this moment, a flash of color suddenly flashed behind Wang Wuchen, and he suddenly fell into obsession. Bang! A sheep's horn emitting white light suddenly rushed out of the crack in space and directly hit Wang Wuchen. Suddenly, there was a muffled sound, and Wang Wuchen was pushed out. Immediately, he saw dense crowds of Overlord phantom antelopes rushing out of the cracks in space. Old Wang, Zhao Shilan shouted when he saw this, and then quickly stepped forward and took Wang Wuchen. At this time, Wang Wuchen finally regained consciousness and couldn't help but said with fear, I just fell into a hallucination, it's so scary. Zhao Shilan glanced at the phantom antelope overlord that kept popping up from the other side of the space crack, and then backed away directly with Wang Wuchen in his arms. Wang Wuchen, old Zhao, we must hold on until the platinum superpower arrives. Zhao Shilan gritted his teeth, but you seem to be injured. Wang Wuchen stood up directly, it's okay. But his twitching beard gave him away, obviously from the pain of injury. Then, Wang Wuchen suddenly became stupid again. He couldn't even maintain his flight and fell straight down. Zhao Shilan was speechless and quickly went over to catch him. Wang Wuchen was in a daze and hugged Zhao Xilan tightly. "Honey, hurry up and tie me up." After hearing this, Zhao Xilan felt cold sweat break out on his forehead. "What?" Another cry came from the alien beast gate, and this sound made Zhao Xilan's heart tighten even more. How could he not recognize that this was the sound made by the king beast? In fact, if the phantom antelope was not good at illusions and supernatural powers, with the strength and supernatural qualities of him and Wang Wuchen, there would be no problem in leapfrogging to the king level. The problem is that the magic of the phantom antelope is too terrifying. Moreover, Zhao Xilan remembered that since the horn gate was opened, there has been no outbreak so far, and it has not been cleaned up. In other words, the number of phantom antelopes in the Gate of Horns has reached an extremely terrifying number after years of accumulation. The reason for all this is that the phantom antelope in the horn gate is too weird and it is very troublesome to clean it up. In addition, the phantom antelope is more docile than other beasts and has never exploded, so the superiors have always thought that there is no threat, so they don't take it too seriously. This is why Wang Wuchen said that after learning that Su Shu and his team had entered the horn gate. The king beast is out. The platinum and lower superpower troops retreat. One of the gold superpowers who was killing the beast realized that something was wrong and shouted hurriedly. Zhao Xilan had no choice but to hold Wang Wuchen and leave first, and he didn't care about Wang Wuchen's hands touching him randomly. On the way of retreating, Zhao Xilan suddenly felt a terrifying breath coming from behind. Then, he saw a middle-aged man wearing a yellow helmet stepping into the air. In his hand, he held a long sword that couldn't be more ordinary. There was no expression on his face, as if he was walking in the sky. Looking at this person, Zhao Xilan was horrified. Lord Sword Emperor. The opponent was above Zhao Xilan the moment before, and the next moment he actually came to the horn gate. At this time, the king-level phantom antelope in the Gate of Strange Beasts had come out, and the two horns on its head bloomed with 5 colors, and came directly to the Sword Emperor. Then the long sword in the hand of the Sword Emperor swung out gently. Suddenly, the colorful light was directly split from the middle, and then the king-level phantom antelope was split in half, deader than dead. Then the sword in the hand of the Sword Emperor swung out again. Suddenly, countless sword beams appeared in the air. Puff 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 puff. As the sound continued to sound, the phantom antelopes around were crossed by sword beams, and were instantly split into 2, and blood spilled into the sky. The phantom antelopes outside were instantly cleared. At this time, a giant phantom antelope leg suddenly stepped out from the space crack. Immediately, a phantom antelope that covered the sky and the sun came out. Behind him, there were densely packed imperial-level phantom antelopes following him. The Sword King's eyes under the yellow safety helmet were ruthless, and he just waved the sword in his hand. As soon as the aura from the sword came out, the legendary phantom antelope's eyes showed fear, and then the horns on its head quickly bloomed with dazzling white light, directly illuminating the entire world outside the horn gate as if it were daytime. Puff! The sword energy directly passed through the white light, splitting it in 2, and then without losing force, it passed straight through the body of the legendary phantom antelope, splitting it in 2, and its crystal core was cut into 2 halves. The Sword King didn't even look at his body, he directly raised his sword and flew towards the horn gate. Along the way, whether it was a king-level phantom antelope or an emperor-level phantom antelope, they were all cut in half by his sword. "Let me go." At this time, Wang Wuchen, who was in Zhao Xilan's arms, suddenly spoke. Zhao Xilan was immediately overjoyed. "You finally recovered. Wang Wuchen, you deal with the aftermath here with other colleagues, and I'll go in and take a look." After saying that, he ignored Zhao Xilan and disappeared in a flash. Soon Wang Wuchen came to the horn gate. As a result, he saw a scene that shocked him extremely. The entire horn gate was devastated, and the ground was covered with terrifying sword marks. The carcasses of phantom antelopes were everywhere. Rumble! Suddenly, a terrifying sound sounded. Immediately, Wang Wuchen saw a long sword that covered the sky and sun coming straight towards this side. Kakaka! In an instant, the entire ground was directly divided into 2 by the long sword, forming a bottomless abyss. At this time, a figure flew over and stood in front of Wang Wuchen. Who else could it be if he wasn't the Sword Emperor? Wang Wuchen quickly raised his hands and saluted, "Sir Sword Emperor." There was no expression on the Sword Emperor's face, and he looked at Wang Wuchen coldly. There was no emotion in his voice. Principal Wang, I didn't find them. I'm afraid it's more serious than the worst. You should be mentally prepared. Wang Wuchen was startled after hearing this, and then he seemed to have lost all his strength and sat down directly on the ground. The Sword Emperor said no more and flew directly into the exit. After a while, Zhao Shilin flew in, and immediately saw Wang Wuchen sitting here in a state of despair. He quickly flew over. Old Wang, what's wrong? Wang Wuchen's eyes were dull and he murmured to himself, I didn't find them. The Sword Emperor couldn't find them either. Zhao Shilin was shocked after hearing this. Are you talking about Su Shu and the others? Wang Wuchen nodded and said nothing. Zhao Shilin quickly raised his hand and patted Wang Wuchen on the shoulder, comforting him. Don't worry, good people don't live long, and harm will last for thousands of years. That Su Shu will definitely not die so easily. Looking at the abyss on the ground, Zhao Shilin said again, maybe they were chopped down by the Sword Emperor's sword. After hearing this, Wang Wuchen's eyes became even more dull. Zhao Shilin quickly comforted him. Don't worry, the Sword Emperor can't be found, which means they are well hidden, such as in the belly of the phantom antelope. Wang Wuchen instantly turned to look at Zhao Shilin, his eyes blazing. Zhao Shilin quickly shut up. The next day, news of the outbreak at the Horn Gate had reached Luo and Yigao. Have you heard? The Horn Gate broke out yesterday. Have you heard? Su Shu entered the Horn Gate after robbing the black market. What? Su Shu caused the outbreak of the Horn Gate. What? Su Shu died in the explosion. Have you heard? Su Shu is dead, and someone saw his body with his own eyes last night. Suddenly, the entire Luo and Yigao was immersed in joy. The happiest among them are Li Yafei and Huang Shijun. The two of them hated Su Shu deeply, so as soon as they heard the news, they met for a cup of coffee to celebrate. At this time, Su Shu and the others were carrying 3 sacks each and arrived at the supernatural army base outside Tuchen Gate. After putting down the sack, the 3 of them breathed a sigh of relief. They were really tired. At this time, Murakusheng finally couldn't help it anymore. Brother Shu, what kind of superpower is that? Isn't it too fantasy? Su Shu. That's called Jinghua Shui Yu. A power that surpasses the quality of SSS can also be called a god-level power. It can turn reality into an illusion, or it can turn illusion into reality. I borrowed it from that sheep, but it's a pity that my superpowers are not enough, otherwise the whole world could become virtual, including the legendary phantom antelope. In fact, these were told to him by the old smoke-voiced Huan antelope, and they were indeed superpowers that surpassed the quality of SSS. But later Lao Yansong told Su Shu that it was best not to expose his existence, otherwise not only humans would not be able to tolerate him, but also alien beasts would not be able to tolerate him. Of course, Su Shu understood this. Humans and alien beasts were inseparable. If others knew about the existence of Lao Yansong, he would become a public enemy of the world. At the same time, the identity of the Lao Yansho divine beast is also pursued by countless strange beasts. If you can swallow its crystal core, you will have a chance to be promoted to a divine beast. This is also the reason why the legendary phantom antelope behaves like that. They watched Lao Yanchao hatch, thinking they really loved him. Instead, wait for the moment before it hatches, take it off directly, and transform into a divine beast. It's a pity that Su Shu cut off his beard directly. At the same time, it was also because of Su Shu's interruption that Lao Yansho did not absorb enough supernatural power growth, and eventually it stayed at the silver level, which is equivalent to a lord. This is also why Su Shu's ability can work on it. And now Old Smoker is lying on Su Shu's shoulder. Because he has been using the illusion ability to maintain his appearance, Kunsheng and Wang Yushan can't see him. The reason why he didn't tell Kunsheng and Wang Yushan was that he was afraid of leaking the news. Su Shu certainly believed that they would not tell, but this world is too big, and no one can guarantee that there is an ability to check memory. Just keep it a secret. Even if they know, it will not do them any good. At that critical moment, the 3 people were directly dispersed after they became illusory. After they came back, the 3 people used the illusion ability of Old Smoker to transform into illusory antelopes, and directly carried the crystal core and walked out of the Horn Gate without anyone noticing. In fact, it was also because Old Smoker had not fully developed. Otherwise, if it released the peak level mirror flower and water moon, it could even directly make the entire Horn Gate illusory. including the legendary phantom antelope. Su Shu could even reach out and take out the crystal core of the legendary phantom antelope and kill it directly. In that case, the three people would not have to run so hard. After hearing this, Kun Sheng couldn't help but give Su Shu a thumbs up. Brother Shu's ability is awesome, he can actually borrow a magical skill. Wang Yushan and I owe you a life. At this time, Wang Yushan suddenly said coldly, you also owe us 2 secrets. Su Shu was stunned. Don't worry, I will do what you told me to do later. Kun Sheng and Wang Yushan rushed directly to Su Shu, and the 3 of them wrestled. After the end, the 3 of them exchanged all the crystal cores for military merits without stopping. More than 10,000 elite crystal cores, more than 1,000 lord crystal cores, and more than 100 overlord crystal cores. In total, more than 300 million, more than 100 million each. Su Shu exchanged 992 silver crystal cores without hesitation, and then used them to improve the quality and ability without hesitation. B-level weakness has an additional ability to sense supernatural powers. So Su Shu is also looking forward to the quality improvement of B-level. Then, Su Shu hurriedly checked the quality improvement after the upgrade. Quality improvement. Quality B. Alien beast cores can be used to improve the quality of all abilities. Choose to remove an ability of an exotic beast. Randomly enhance the ability of an alien beast, limited to B level and below. The same alien beast can only be used again after 3 months. The current number of crystal cores required for improvement, 10,000 golden beast crystal cores. Su Shu stared at the 2 newly appeared abilities, feeling a little surprised. The first ability is actually not very useful to Su Shu, because he has the forbidden angle, which can be taken away from him, and then he can choose the abilities he wants. But it works very well for others. After all, when absorbing living alien beasts, whether you can absorb the abilities you want depends entirely on luck. If you are unlucky, you may even absorb low-level abilities. Some overlords also have C-level or B-level abilities. With Su Shu's ability, it's different. You can just get rid of everything you don't want and leave what you want. As for the subsequent upgrades, they are actually not used yet. After all, they only have an effect on abilities below B level. Whoever absorbs superpowers doesn't want to absorb high-quality ones. The higher the better, since those below B level are completely useless. However, Su Shu speculates that this ability will definitely increase with the improvement of quality improvement abilities in the later stage, and combined with elimination, a terrifying effect can be achieved. At that time, directly eliminate all the unnecessary abilities, leaving only one, and then use random upgrades to upgrade one quality at that time. The effect is simply abnormal. At the same time, due to the improvement of the quality improvement ability, the cores required to improve the weaken weak have been reduced by 10 times, becoming 10,000 golden beast cores. In this way, it will only be 10 billion. Well, that's a desperate number. As Su Shu's promotion ended, Kun Sheng and Wang Yushan also exchanged what they needed. Let's go. If we don't leave, if the exchange record is found, we will be caught and put on the sewing machine. Su Shu said quickly after stopping. Kun Sheng and Wang Yushan nodded at the same time, and the 3 of them headed towards the Touchen Gate together. This time the target is Marao's bronze level ability. After learning the lesson from the Horn Gate last time, Su Shu went to the Supernatural Army base to redeem a manual for the Earth Gate. After the 3 people entered, they all took out the manual and read it. Su Shu looked at the manuals in their hands and couldn't help but say, if I knew you had redeemed it, I wouldn't have redeemed it. It would be a waste of my military merit. Kun Sheng and Wang Yushan were also stunned and said in unison, why didn't you tell me earlier? Su Shu nodded. Okay, you took action without notifying me, right? Kun Sheng and Wang Yushan were speechless. You didn't say anything either. Okay. Su Shu stopped talking and concentrated on reading the manual. Looking at it, Su Shu couldn't help but say, this Touchen Gate doesn't seem to be dangerous. It says that someone came in when it was first opened, and then fell asleep directly inside, and he has been sleeping until now. The village student nodded in agreement. I also saw it. It seems that this Touchen Gate is very suitable for sleeping. Wang Yushan. Then let's find a place to rest quickly. The 3 of them didn't sleep last night. Now they suddenly relaxed and felt sleepy. Su Shu had no objection, and the three of them found a hole in the ground and rested. Love honey, love honey, love honey. I just want to see your face. The cell phone rings. Hello. Wang Wuchen, who was slumped on the sofa with dull eyes, picked up his phone and said weakly. Zhao Shilan's voice immediately came from the other end of the phone. Old Wang, there is good news and bad news. Which one do you want to hear? Wang Wuchen. Whatever. I don't really want to hear it. Zhao Shilan. Then let me just tell you the good news. News just came from the supernatural army base outside Tuchen Gate. A few minutes ago, Su Shu, Wang Yushan and Kun Sheng exchanged things there. Wang Wuchen jumped up after hearing this. What? Say it again. Zhao Shilan's voice rose a bit. Su Shu and the others must have gone to the Tuchen Gate and exchanged things there. Wang Wuchen was suddenly extremely excited, and his hands were trembling. Okay, great. It would be great if there is news. Zhao Shilan. Then do you want to hear bad news? Wang Wuchen had regained his energy at this time, and his tone finally became more positive. Hurry up and say something. Zhao Shilan. Su Shu is still alive. Wang Wuchen was just speechless and did not realize the seriousness of this problem. Back at the Tuchen Gate, after Kun Sheng and Wang Yushan fell asleep, Su Shu turned to look at the antelope of the old Yan voice on his shoulder. Old Yan voice, can you lend me your dreaming skills? The Laoyan voice Huan antelope was a little confused, ignoring the supernatural powers in advance. Why do you call me Lao Yan voice? My name is Huan Shen. Su Shu nodded. Okay, Huan Shen, right. From now on, I'll call you Fei Yangyang. After hearing this, Lao Yansheng flew up and looked at Su Shu with a stern look. Human, I feel your disrespect for this god. Believe it or not, I will give you a mirror flower and a moon in the water. I will keep you in illusion forever. Su Shu was surprised. You mean you are not satisfied with this name? Okay, let's change it to another one and call it Mei Yang Yang Sang. Human, you have successfully angered this god. I am about to use mirror flowers and water moon on you. Lao Yansheng's eyes were filled with indifference. Su Shu raised his eyebrows. Then you can use it. Mei Yang Yang Sang. Then I'll use it. Su Shu, use it. Mei Yang Yang Sang. I'm preparing. Su Shu, can you do it, little dog? Mei Yang Yang Sang's eyes seemed to be spitting fire. I'll release it. Su Shu, go ahead and release it. Mei Yang Yang Sang. Say it 10,000 times if you can. Su Shu looked at it with contempt, knowing that it couldn't release it at all. Let alone the mirror flower and water moon, it might be difficult to release a phantom horn attack. After all, it is only silver level now, and the previous mirror flower and water moon must have consumed a lot of energy, and it can't be restored in a short time. Now he can keep the phantom power to hide himself, which is already very good. Mei Yang Yang Sang seemed to lose strength in an instant, and fell directly on Su Shu's shoulder, and said weakly, Human, you win. Su Shu, then you say whether to lend it or not. Mei Yang Yang Sang nodded. Lend it, but I don't have any superpowers anymore, you use your own superpowers. Su Shu nodded. Of course. The two reached a preliminary deal. Then, the third color on Mei Yang Yang Sang's horn suddenly lit up, and then turned into a blue light that fell on Su Shu's head. Instantly, Su Shu felt the existence of the dream entering ability. Then, Su Shu turned his head and looked at Wang Yushan, raised his hand and pointed, and the blue light shot out, directly hitting Wang Yushan. Su Shu instantly felt that the power in his body was suddenly consumed by more than half. In the past, he used the power that was deprived, so he didn't feel anything. This time, when he used his own power, he realized that this thing consumed a lot. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.